Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to, or I guess, hello, Spider Friends as well. Welcome to the 131st episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the amazing, ultimate, superior, spectacular Travis Snail, also longest reigning GeekVerse champion.
You practiced that in the mirror.
No, I didn't. This I did. Of all time, sorry Tyler, you couldn't beat me, but you can't beat the best sometimes.
He has no words.
And I'm joined by my cohort.
I am the wall-crawling menace, Dylan Musey.
You say. Interesting. I am your friendly neighborhood Jessica.
Nice.
Are these two going to drop the ball?
I'm the Ned-tastic Taylor Field.
Okay, that's not as good.
And I'm the spectacle-wearing Tyler Briggs.
Surprised no one did the guy in the chair.
Definitely went downhill. No.
Sorry, you know, sometimes good things are at the bottom of the hills.
Amazing.
Like gold.
That's exactly right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't guessed it by the title that is actually down below or nicknames, the much anticipated Spider-Man reboot, the third iteration of Spider-Man, the first time Spider-Man's been in the MCU. It's finally here. We're going to review it. If you've not been with us for a review, we do our overall thoughts, a review first, and then we'll let you know 100% when we get into spoilers. So if you want, if you haven't seen it, you can come back and listen to the rest. If not, you can just stay the whole way through. So, Mr. Briggs, I'll start with you because you're across and I like to go in a circle. So what did you think about this fine film, this fine summer's film on a July 6th?
I thought it was good. Mm-hmm. It didn't, I've actually given a whole lot of thought to it overall. Like,
perfect.
Analysis. But I thought it was really good. It wasn't as good as my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I went in there with very solid expectations and it let me down a little bit, but overall...
So you would say it wasn't solid then? If your expectations were solid, it was
like very solid expectations.
Oh, okay, I see. Different
like
levels
incredibly
of solid.
solid expectations. Like
stone solid.
It was rather
like Wonder Woman or better level expectations.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think it met up them for me. There was a couple character decisions that I didn't really like. Overall, though, like Vulture, phenomenal villain, I thought, for probably the vast majority of the film. Peter Parker, great guy. Great
Just
guy.
in general, you know.
Yeah, no, I really like I think they focused on a lot of high school stuff, and I thought that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they played that all out was awesome, and I wouldn't say it gave me nostalgic feelings, but it felt good watching that. And it's just a very feel-good movie, I thought. I just felt good about a lot of things. And
That's a good
really,
that's a good sign.
Really fun film.
Taylor Field, the man who loves everything.
Do I?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
Is that foreshadowing to what you think this was?
Except for
Yeah,
Galaxy
this would
Heroes.
be the time. This would, yeah, Star Wars Galaxy
Fuck that
Heroes.
game.
Go listen to our E3.
And
Marvel
someone-
calls us up. Taylor's got to get off.
Well, Taylor booked it out of the theater afterwards.
Yeah.
Fuck this, I'm leaving.
Yeah, apparently they had posters.
No, they didn't. It's all a
I
lie.
wish they had posters.
Kind of what you said on that nostalgic feeling, you know, I definitely had that. I'm like, well, this brings back some feels here.
That's nostalgia. That's the dictionary definition. Oh, this brings back some feels right here.
Because you know, folks, that's when you tune in this podcast where it's just definitions of words.
Semantics.
Jesus.
No, you know, I didn't really have any expectation. I went in there not knowing what to really see come out of this. I knew it was going to be Spider-Man.
We've been talking about
The
these trailers
definition
for
of unexpected. I didn't know what to expect.
I knew I don't mean expect like what I'm gonna see on the screen. I expect like how I'm gonna feel after seeing the whole experience of how Marvel's gonna handle Spider-Man.
That is deep.
It is deep.
Got a
Yeah,
physical man over here.
I know.
Hey.
But it definitely blew my mind a little bit. I wasn't.
Your mind a little bit.
That's actually the scale, is how much it blows his mind.
This was-
everything does.
This was almost the best sex I ever had, but not there, but almost. It blew my mind a little bit. Jesus Christ.
It was a very good movie. I liked how they tackled it in high school as opposed to the others. I liked how Tom Holland delivered.
Well, both Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man were in high school.
I know, but I mean, this one definitely.
felt like
Its point of view was more in high school, and so it was cool to see that perspective. Like they felt like teenagers, all these characters. The other ones, it didn't feel like that necessarily. It felt like it was a larger scale kind of conflict. This one, it felt like it's Peter Parker in high school, and there's a larger conflict going on, but at the same time, it's grounded in a small scale that suits him and his environment, which I thought was handled pretty good. And that Marvel take on it too, with the comedy and everything, is always a hoot.
And again,
Always
none of the
a
other
hoot.
Spider-Man said any comedy according to Taylor. You know.
Oh, they did, but not Marvel quality.
Okay.
Tobey Maguire's facial expressions
Oh,
were the high quality.
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's as serious as the night, all right.
You'll get your rent.
So, what are your overall thoughts? You liked it then? Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think
it's
you
a good
actually
movie.
gave a stamp of your feelings.
It was a good movie. It was really good.
Okay, Jessica.
I'm kind of in the same boat as Tyler. I feel actually kind of disappointed by this movie. I went in, kind of going off what we saw in Civil War, kind of that comedy and everything, and I thought it was, I don't know, I just feel kind of let down. There was a couple points where I was kind of like, what's going on? Like, is something gonna happen? I just felt like...
Podcast listener, she was checking her imaginary watch.
Yeah, my Fitbit broke. I don't actually have a watch anymore. So it was good, but I think that there was some things that could have been changed to kind of make it a little better.
I'm interested to break this down. I can't
Dive
wait.
into it.
Dylan Musk, for the past few weeks, we've been, or even months, we've been reviewing Spider-Man the animated series.
Yep.
We reviewed all the movies.
We
Go
did.
check all those out. So you have been up to your
A lot of
ears in
Spider-Man on the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about Spider-Man's probably we've talked about Spider-Man probably days worth.
You could say
Mhm.
that. That's pretty accurate.
So how did this film?
I
Do for you?
loved it. I really did. I think it was such a different feel from the other Spider-Mans. I think just because of his age, I think that's a big part of it, but just the way they went around with it too. Like they really tried to make it feel like he was in high school, and that was a bigger part of the movie, and that's kind of where it started with his storyline. And then I think it has such a different feel between like the Marvel movies and then the Marvel TV shows, because both of those two things, obviously there's a lot of different like archetypes and stuff they go for within that, but they seem very distinct. Whereas this seemed like in another area, I suppose. Like, and I love how it had like the Spider-Man cheesiness to it, because that's what makes Spider-Man so great.
Mhm.
And I think the Amazing Spider-Man movies maybe didn't do enough of that, and whereas like the Tobey Maguire movies did, and obviously the animated show is just like super cheese. But yeah, this had a lot of like cheesy jokes and just like I feel like the movies try to go for an ounce of realism, like the way the characters act and stuff like that. But this just like went a little over the top, and I think there was a good change of pace. I don't love all the characters. I think some of them are a little lame, but overall, like I really like Vulture, and I like how they started the movie with him too, even though he kind of disappeared for like 45 minutes or half an hour or whatever it was after that.
8 years.
8 years, you could say.
Hey, minor spoilers.
I definitely want
Yeah.
to see someone make a cosplay of those wings. Just throw that out
That's a
there.
lot of money.
Mhm.
That's a lot of working
Yeah.
out.
Overall, like I don't think it was perfect. I think that there is some flaws with it and some things I didn't really like, but I still had fun like the entire time, and I was just loving it. I was glued to the screen. So yeah, I loved it.
I'll ask you, because we've been reviewing them. What do you what would you prefer, this or Spider-Man 1 with Tobey?
Oof.
As you,
It's such a different time, man. It's so different.
Do you want to come back to the question at the end of the cast once we do?
Oh, of
Okay,
course.
I'm
Yeah, I
gonna
need
hit
to
you with
think
that
about it
again.
more.
Well, two notes that are completely off topic. One, if you have a kid that is too young, please do not take them to the movie theater. The first 20 minutes, we had a kid just crying, and it's just like, hey, buddy, I get you really want to see Spider-Man, but go fuck yourself. Get a babysitter. Plan it out.
Nice.
Like, these kids were clearly too young. Like, it's not like...
Travis actually said this to the parents.
I was actually close to saying, go get a fucking babysitter. But then I was really close, and then when I did look behind me, there was another kid. I was like, okay, I don't want to drop an F-bomb here. But I was getting really, like, I'll call people out in theaters. I was getting really close. And two, just don't talk during movies. We had some bad people behind us that were really annoying, very loud.
At least they didn't kick your seat.
And Dylan got a seat kick. So, theater etiquette. Biggest thing, just show it. It's a sacred ground place.
Put your phone away as well.
Sacred
I'll throw that
ground
out.
place.
It's sacred.
That's what they call it. Yeah.
That's how special it is.
And then for the actual movie, Tyler, I think you said it didn't, like, it was just a little below your expectations. It just met mine, so it didn't blow me away. It was kind of like with Guardians, that blew me away. Wonder Woman blew me away. Logan kind of blew me away, but I was expecting it to. This, I think it just matched what I was thinking, which is still a good thing. I was disappointed in some things, but they're pretty much very minor, and there's a lot of like geek stuff I'll get into. I think I like most of the characters. I think Tom Holland does a great job. I love Tobey, but I think Tom Holland will become the Spider-Man just because of his age. It suits him, like it's much better. The high school stuff is my favorite part of this movie, and that's what I wanted to see. It's great talking about Marvel and them having like an actual good villain. Vulture's fantastic in this. I thought Michael Keaton, he shows again why he's such a great actor. I think, and this is like minor spoilers, but I think a little part for me that maybe tempered my my liking of this movie were the trailers, and we had talked about that before, but I had never felt, other than a few Easter eggs, which we'll get into in the spoilers, I never felt truly surprised because I did feel that trailer a while back ago kind of had that BVS effect. Not to the same extent where it didn't spoil all the surprises in this movie, but I'll wait till the spoilers. But I felt from the trailers maybe showed a little bit too much, and I felt, oh, this part still has to happen, this part still has to happen, you know? So I think I'm sounding negative. I really liked it, but for me, I would like, what the question I pose you, I think this is the best one since the Tobey ones, but I don't think they're I don't know. I don't love it maybe as much as the rest of the world maybe does. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's still, if this came out at the beginning, you'd be like, oh, it's such a great comic book movie. The fact that this is like maybe my least favorite of the year is saying a lot, because it's still a good movie. It's not a Suicide Squad or a BVS. We're like, oof, Spider-Man, that was like, it's like, I think we all kind of like it at least. It's not like, oh, I was really disappointed, but anything non-spoiler we should say before we get...
Well, I just wanted to quickly say on the trailer, like, I've mentioned this before on the cast, whenever I go to a movie, I have like this innate ability to just completely forget the trailers and just watch the movie. Mm-hmm. And I think, this movie and like BVS were the only two exceptions where I really felt like, even this movie too, like I kind of was like, okay, I know what's coming next.
Yeah.
So, and that's very rare for me. So, yeah, that was a little disappointing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No spoilers, or not going to spoilers?
Spoilers are more fun. We should go into that territory.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen the movie, watch it, come back. I want to, before we get into Peter Parker, I want to talk more about the trailer thing, because I didn't want to spell it out for people that hadn't seen the movie yet, but they literally did the thing where they show him being Spider-Man, they show some fun, he makes a mistake, Tony takes the suit away, and that thing, which like I think we all felt this way, but that ending scene with Vulture, actually, I'll ask you in a second, that ending scene with Vulture on the plane, when I saw him, like, I knew that was the end, and that was my problem. I could feel all the stuff coming. There was the big twist, which we'll get to later, which I didn't see coming until 30 seconds when they pulled him. Like, I know what's going on, I know what's about to happen, but and I'm glad they didn't spoil that twist, but I felt that did hamper it for me, my excitement, because I felt like, oh, everything I saw in the trailers, they're doing it really well, but I just knew it was coming, unlike like a Guardians or a Civil War or a Logan, even Wonder Woman, it's like, you see scenes from all, like, the ending, the beginning, but they're all scattered, and I think that did kind of hurt.
That trailer went in chronological order too for the most part.
Exactly. Like, I think now looking back at it, they should never showed him back in his OG suit. They should have never showed any of that, and that would have been a fun surprise of like, oh, what's he gonna do when he gets back in the suit? Because I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
I honestly, like, going into this movie, I was thinking they were trying to throw us off with that trailer.
Me too.
And there was gonna maybe be like another villain or something in there.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask Jessica, because do you ever see this trailer we're talking about?
Nope.
Because I remember you were on the cast and you said, should I watch it? And we all said, like, no, don't bother if you're not reviewing it. Because, it showed, like, the movie kind of beat for beat. It showed Tony taking his suit away. It showed that ending scene with him doing the plane. It was
like, are they just going to end on this? And then I was like, oh, wait, it's Homecoming. I'm like, so shit's going to happen until Homecoming, and then Homecoming starts. I'm like, okay, well, now everything's going to happen. So that naming, too, kind of gave away that you're kind of waiting for Homecoming to happen, and that's when everything's going to be.
Yeah.
So.
Let's start with Peter Parker, I guess. Spider-Man. We've talked about him a little bit in Civil War, but this is the first time in this whole movie. Tyler, what do you think about Tom Holland?
I think he's, like, the new Spider-Man. Like, obviously, it's very literal, but also...
You're
like,
right! You're honest!
I'm not wrong. But with the Amazing Spider-Man, I've only watched the first film, but I thought it was... something, it just didn't feel right, I guess.
Oh, the Garfield one.
The Andrew Garfield one. It just didn't feel like... It didn't feel like Spider-Man.
He was a cool guy.
And then this one, like, it just everything felt so right about Spider-Man. Everything fit, and I was like, this is going to be the image of Spider-Man for
decades.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally decades.
Literally decades. So, I think they did it really well, and Tom Holland, just great guy all around. He pulled off looking young really well, like 15-year-old. Like
he's supposed to be 15, and he's actually 21. Right?
Yeah, like I very believable, which I thought was really well done, because I find a lot of times that like it's very difficult to make someone look that high school age.
Yeah.
So,
Taylor,
I think each Spider-Man has been pulled off and executed in their own perfect way. Like
perfect way.
Cool.
Yeah, like cool. From my point of view, so Tobey Maguire was like the photographer Peter Parker in the film. Like,
that's what he is. That's his main characteristic.
I know,
photographer.
But he played that off really, really well as that kind of a Spider-Man. And Andrew Garfield played off like the socially awkward kind of just weird, but
I
don't know.
I don't know.
I have a
know
different
about this.
perception.
Yeah, he's
Tobey
like
Maguire is
nerdy.
way too awkward to like even function. Sometimes I'm watching it and I think he's like a cardboard cutout. He's just sitting there like just blank eyes, like someone just photographed his face with a bright light on.
And then the counter other point, I feel like Andrew Garfield sometimes in those movies are like the coolest guy in the room. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you're watching a different.
He has
Yeah,
his
he's
cool
skateboarding through
jacket.
his school.
He makes
It's
me
like,
feel like cringing at times when I see him.
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
wow.
No.
Tobey
That's fine,
Maguire, I
Andrew
feel like, you know,
Wow.
that he's a pretty chill kind of
You
person.
should tell that to his face.
So what is this Spider-Man rank for you then?
The Spider-Man pulls off like he's just right. He's like they didn't.
Like the other two. They're perfect.
It was weird seeing him in the element of not being like heavy on like a photographer. Like yes, at the beginning they showcased that with his camera, he's recording everything. But then as the movie progressed, you didn't see him with a camera at all. So it was
Right.
weird seeing that kind of perspective for Peter Parker, who's heavily emphasized to have
Someday he'll get there.
the camera.
You're really hooked up, hung up on the camera.
Oh, yeah.
When he's out of high
It's
school, he
huge.
needs a job.
Yeah.
Go to the Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
Calling up John or something.
But I think he was actually a pretty swell Spider-Man. Yeah, I think
Pretty
he
swell,
he
yeah.
did a really good job. Made me laugh, and he just really felt like a teenager in high school.
That's what he was.
That's what he was. Yeah.
That's what they went for.
Jessica.
I will definitely agree that he did a really good job not looking his age. Like he does, he looks young. I had to Google how old he was because I honestly didn't know, and especially because you get kid actors play kids and adult actors play adults and actors play teenagers, so it's kind of hard to make sure that they look awkward and they kind of fit in where they are. So I think he is really good in that sense as well, that he can keep playing them and growing, because it's not like, okay, and next year he's going to be too old to look like Spider-Man, and then what? Which, no offense to Tobey and Andrew Garfield, but, I think that he is a fun character to watch, and, part of it is the writing, but I think that a lot of the jokes and stuff that he was in, he does pull off well. And I did have fun watching him. The one scene where he crawls into his bedroom right before his friend finds out who he is. I thought he did a good job playing both sides of that as well. So
Cool. Well, I think the big thing with being a Spider-Man is you got to have the Peter Parker and the Spider-Man. I think Tom Holland really did both of them really well. As Spider-Man, he had the classic cheesy lines, and he's messing around with the bad guys rather than just quickly taking them out.
I'm starting to think you're not the real Avengers.
Exactly. And I think, just the action scenes and everything to do with his Spider-Man, I liked. I really liked the look, and I like the eyes. I think they're really cool. And then as Peter Parker, he got the awkwardness down, and it is a different way than Tobey Maguire is. Because I when I watched that, I like the original Spider-Man movies, I just feel like Tobey Maguire is an incredibly awkward person, and so he's just being himself. Whereas Tom Holland is just a really good actor, he's being the awkward character. And so, he does that really well. And I think his interactions with everyone were good except for one character. We'll talk about them a bit later. But I think just the way he interacted with the people. And I thought he was really good.
Yeah, no,
I'm excited to see more of him.
Yeah, I'll counter on that. Yeah, I think he's great. We talked about. I think Maguire was always the best at being Parker, and Garfield was really good and the best at being Spider-Man. I think Tom Holland does those both well. The only thing for me is I want to, and what you're talking about, I think he will do better as we go on. We got a few emotional scenes in this movie. I want to see a bit more where I do agree Maguire can come off very awkward at times, but I think there was one scene in the scene where he has to push the cement off himself. And other than that, I think we didn't get any scenes in the first Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, when Uncle Ben dies, or when he graduates, or when he confronts Goblin. I want more of those, and that's my only worry. And it's maybe a critique.
even the Mary Jane scenes and stuff like that. Right?
Yeah, that's maybe a critique where I don't know if we're ever going to get those with Marvel, because I say that Guardians had some really emotional scenes, so we could, but with this Spider-Man, I don't know how deep they're going to get with him. It seems they're going to be more on the fun, young, hip sort of side, which still is good, so I think he does a great job. There's no problems, I think, with him, if I have any things that happen with Spider-Man. I think the suit is good. I'm getting used to it. I'm still not the biggest fan that's all CGI. I think
the design of it, you mean?
Yeah, I like the design, but the actual suit, most of the time it's CGI. He usually just wears... He does have the real suit, but lots of times he just wears, a white unitard and they CGI it later. And lots of those things you can tell, and I get it, but I'm getting used to it, so that was good. But yeah, I think he does great. I think he's going to be around for literally 10 to 20 years, and I'm happy. I think he nails the comedy. He does nail the emotional scenes they gave him. The romance stuff I haven't seen because I think that's one of the weaker parts in this movie, and we'll talk about in a sec. So, because that's especially if you compare to Maguire and Garfield. Maguire's relationship, Phil and Emma Stone, who are like the goals as far as like a movie couple chemistry. So it's kind of tough to combat that, right? And I don't know in the future how he's going to have that with certain other characters. I don't see it yet. So I think he's great. I don't think he needs to get better. I just think like if the movies shift a different way, he'll get better with them. And I think he will become the best, the definitive Spider-Man. Just because the age thing helps, but he does. He pulls off both well. You know, I love Tobey, but his Spider-Man doesn't really quip that much. He says a few jokes here and there. His Spider-Man's more like 60s and heroic. This is Spider-Man. So, and he pulls it off well because it's a tough task. So, who do we want to talk about next?
What's her name? Carolyn? Is that what he calls her?
His voice? Karen, yeah.
I mean, that's part of the suit. You know, it's part of Tom.
That happened. And is Jennifer Vision voice in Tony Stark, and then he became Vision. So it's kind of cool that his wife is now the voice in.
So she'll be a character someday.
Yeah.
I don't think that
she will embody Karen from Daredevil.
Yeah, that's god, and that's fine if you brought that up because I actually thought I wasn't gonna like the voice, and I end up liking it. But when they introduced him, like I don't want like Iron Man light of just like you do this, but I like that she had more of a personality and like this is your time, kiss her now. And he's like what, and then he like dropped. Like I liked the route they took it, where I thought I wasn't gonna like it, and I do, and I'm still getting used to Spider-Man with a bunch of gadgets has never been my favorite Spider-Man, but we have 5 other movies when he doesn't have gadgets, so I'm kind of like, okay, I get why they're doing it, but when he had, I think it's cool, spider grenades and stuff like that, but sometimes like...
Well, I was going to say, I really like that scene at the gas station and in the like security vault thing, when he's just learning all these tricks. I think the quipping like between those two was really well done.
I think that was probably one of my most preferred scenes was at the gas station when he's trying to figure everything out and just like, oh, you pick, and then what the heck is this? You told me to pick. So,
what happened? You face planted.
So, I think.
Thanks.
I think
I stole it and I probably butchered it. So it's pretty followable.
Okay, you guys
You
done?
did say it wrong.
No, they're not done yet. We'll wait.
It's all good.
I definitely think that was my favorite character combination though. The clips that they had were, I don't know, him and Liz just was kind of whatever.
Yeah. Him
and Tony, you know, you get a couple scenes, but there's not, it's the starting of the relationship, but I don't know, I feel like a lot of the scenes that we had were him in the suit together, so I feel like you kind of get that relationship built up, so I think I like that one quite a bit.
Well, let's talk, because you brought it up, let's talk about Robert Downey, Tony Stark, Iron Man right now. I mean, at start, I actually was happy with his use, other than we saw every scene of his we talked about in the car in the trailer, which is fine, but everyone's big worry going into this was like, oh, is this just going to be Iron Man 4, like with Spider-Man? He's barely in this. He probably has maybe 5-10 minutes of screen time, like, so if anyone was, well, we should have said that in the non-spoilers, but 5 minutes at most, and I think they're all good scenes, they're vital, I think this is a smart way to use him. It's not like he gets oversaturated, he comes in, he gets the crowd in, and then when they're there, I thought he used the scenes well, and I thought all his scenes, it didn't feel like he came in and just shot some stuff and left, like he felt like he was actually...
Even though he did have a body double.
He did,
so he
and a hair
did that
console, remember?
At some point.
But, like, I thought his scenes were actually good, and they added to the film, where I thought, you know, we could either get too much, or we might get a person phoning in, and I'm back on the Downey train. I was never off it, but since Civil War, I think he stepped up his game, and one of my favorite scenes is the scene on the rooftop. We had seen a bit of it in the trailer, but I liked him taking the suit away, and I thought they did a really good job, and I just liked the way he constantly kept referring back to, like, oh, I sound like my father. You know, like, he's trying not to be his father, but he's, like, slipping into it, and I like this son-father dynamic, so I think, also, we got 2 more Avengers, we got another Spider-Man plan, so, like, we're gonna see that grow, and I thought this was another good step, so...
Now that I think about it, did we even see... Was there that scene where him, like, Iron Man and Spider-Man are flying side by side?
That's just a trailer shot. I guarantee they put that in there and be like, oh, the people see this and love it.
Come see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I pretty much exactly agree with what you have to say. So
yeah.
Nothing else to add there.
Yeah.
I will add, though, one thing that I did like is they do show him being saved over and over again. So, like, he comes for the boat and he comes when he's in the water. So you kind of feel like he's going to get saved at the end when he's fighting Vulture.
Yeah.
So I was
I don't think
sitting-
they actually ever call him Vulture.
They
though,
never
so.
Yeah,
said
they
his
never
name.
said. They didn't even throw
On
the
the
except on the
headline.
cardboard note.
On the note, it says
Cardboard
Vulture
note.
guy.
Right, overall, yeah.
But
so
he never
Spider-Man
actually had a
names him.
title. He was never like
Yeah.
Vulture.
Yeah.
So
Vulture.
Vulture with
Bulging
5
eyes.
C's.
so that was definitely like I sat there. I was like, oh great, Tony Stark's gonna come in again. And then when he didn't, I was pleasantly surprised. So
Right.
I will give them that they kind of made it seem like it was gonna happen and didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like, are they gonna do it? Please don't. Please don't.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't want to be this like showdown between, especially because right before then the plane, Vulture like looks at his mask, Iron Man's mask, and, like throws it away in disgust. I'm like, oh, I don't want the last fight of this movie to be like Iron Man v Vulture.
Yeah.
And
I
like,
feel like Iron Man would just like wrecked Vulture too.
I do too.
Yeah,
Vulture's
yeah.
pretty low level. Even though
Yeah.
when Iron Man's like, yeah, let us deal with this. It's like I feel like any of the Avengers are gonna like. I even feel like Hawkeye. Like all I gotta do is get an arrow in that wing string, and it's
Mm,
over.
sure,
for
right.
him.
Also, okay, isn't it an awful idea to send off this plane full of all of the Avengers equipment, like completely unmanned?
yeah,
Like, I
think
realize
so.
it's an invisible plane, but it wasn't really invisible because 2 people found it.
Especially because so much shit has happened to them. Like,
Yeah.
This isn't their first
There's
rodeo. Like,
no people on that plane.
No.
Why is Iron Man not flying beside it the whole
Yeah.
time? That was a really bad idea.
Yeah.
You don't
He's
seem
busy.
You don't seem choked.
Where was he?
Where was War Machine? Why is no one else
Well,
there?
War Machine can't walk anymore. Remember?
Well, he can't. This is 8 years later, isn't it? I don't know.
No. Remember that was 80.
Either way, he was walking by the end of Civil War, so he can.
He was okay. He was.
Okay, it doesn't matter. You get a drone. He has all these
Yeah.
drones. I don't care. You get. There's so many options. You get Thor. I don't know. Probably don't get Thor.
I don't know.
The point is-
Happy was in charge. He's not the most competent.
I don't know how the decoy took it.
He's a
too.
producer. He's very competent.
Yeah, the decoy taking it didn't. Really
Yeah, it was
make a lot
like
of sense.
no, like an entire plane's just gonna go off grid, and this little thing is gonna take over. It didn't make sense
Yeah,
to me. on
It
that
took
one.
over the signal, is what I'm picking up.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
but-
continuing on
it's
its
not
trajectory.
really
And
how it
when
works.
Happy looks
Well,
at the
That's not how it
computer.
works.
It works.
it's not-
It works because they clearly didn't give a shit about this plane.
No.
That's why they had no one protecting it, and that makes no sense.
When
to me.
Happy looks at the screen, though, it showed that the plane was still on track, even though the supply
But
plane was off
it-
course.
You're missing the point, Taylor.
That's not how it works though.
Yeah.
Okay,
It just
I'm gonna
copied
give
the
but-
transponder signal, so they would both be giving off the same signal. And be like, why are there 2 signals?
But I didn't
I
see
am-
the other signal, though.
Yeah, I am gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, though. This is a world where a big fucking green guy exists, so I
Yeah.
think they have the technology to like, oh, we're just gonna change the signal of this plane. So if I see aliens coming, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
They also
Good.
had lots of alien technology.
yeah, so I'll give them a
Yeah.
pass.
yeah,
weird
I
shit.
think they weren't expecting people to have alien technology to find the plane.
No,
and stuff.
that's true.
That's not very smart.
They didn't.
Like the key point of Vulture's operation
Happy
was to
should be
stay
fine.
under the radar.
Mhm.
That's like a core part of
Like
what
a
kept them going. So no one expected
Did you
it
fall
because no one
asleep
knew
for-
there were any
No,
bad guys.
for
but
20
I
seconds.
remember there was just one plane still on the screen. He's like, "Oh, everything's good," and Happy's kicking back, and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Still stuck on the
Okay.
plane.
Anything else to add on Iron Man or anything like that?
Iron Man. No.
That
He's
was
good.
good.
I'll quickly throw him out because he's kind of tied to it. I liked Happy Hogan in this movie. I thought he was like a good foil to Peter, always putting him through the shit. He's having to work, and all he's trying to do is just move this shit Avengers Tower, and this kid keeps getting in his way. I thought it was good. The bathroom scene was really good at the end when he's just like, he's
Yeah,
about to
that's
make a big
hilarious.
speech, and this kid just comes in and he washes his hands slowly, he's looking at them. So I thought it was a good use because it also makes it feel like Iron Man's there a lot more than he actually is when you see Happy. You're like, oh, Iron Man's in this movie a lot, but really, it's like you'll get sound bites of Downey talking to Happy Hogan
Right.
or something. So it's like, if that kind of enforces it more of like, it feels more like an
Have
Iron
you seen
Man
that
movie.
character before?
Yeah, he's in all 3 Spider-Man, or Iron Mans.
All
Yeah.
three Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's like
Iron
familiar,
Man.
but I don't remember anything about his character.
He
really.
directed the first 2 Iron Mans as well.
Well, I know
Really?
that, but I didn't
You
know.
did.
Well, I didn't know about it, like him acting though. I know.
Oh, yeah, no, he's
Oh,
in
sure.
all of them, and he's like big roles in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he takes over the company in one of them.
Yeah, I don't remember that for
Yeah.
some reason.
And he was in Daredevil, the OG one. He played Foggy. He's a
Oh,
long,
really?
yeah, he's a long history with comic books. Yeah. You guys have anything to say on Happy Hogan? Were you happy to see him?
I was.
Nice.
I like the play too, how he's kind of treating him how Downey's father treated him, so it's kind of still that father role as
Right.
well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. At least that's what I picked up on for that.
I like when he talks to Ned on the computer and he just like hangs up right away. He's like, "Oh, who the hell is this kid?"
Which that I did, yeah. See, that's a name for me because I didn't like that Happy would just hang up on him because he, as of right
didn't take
now,
anything seriously.
yeah, as of right, like they're like, hey, if anything happens, call us. And the second someone calls, like, hey, I know Peter Parker, I know he's Spider-Man. He's like, oh, whatever, and he hangs up. I was like,
Yeah, that was like,
Yeah, like,
why does this kid know who Peter Parker is?
Yeah, like we'll get into it, but lots of my problems are near like the ending of the
Well,
movie.
especially when they knew about the alien technology, because Stark knew. And
Yeah.
they're like, okay, well, Peter Parker's calling. Maybe it's about that alien technology.
Nope.
Right.
No, that's fine.
We don't trust him anymore. I'll just bring it up because I don't want to forget. How do we feel about the quick second appearance of Pepper Potts was back at the end of this movie?
Unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought she was outie. I thought she
Because
quit.
in Civil War, they insinuated that they were broken up.
Yeah.
So I like that that's kind of
And
tying
now
this
they're
to-
engaged.
Well, yeah, I think they're going to be engaged now. So I like that I like that we're clearly, it doesn't look like we're getting Iron Man 4 anytime soon. So I like that throughout these movies that we're like getting like little snippets of like what's happening in Tony Stark's life. Because I do want Iron Man 4. So I'll take this until we get that.
Mhm.
So, because who knows, he could die in 2 years. Not the actor, like the character.
I'm glad
Wow.
Pepper
Wow.
Potts is back though. I like her character a lot. So
Yeah, so, yeah. Good show for her.
Yeah. I guess it's cool that she's back. I don't know.
no.
I just want to shout out because I know
Yeah.
it's noteworthy, you know?
Yeah.
It's a throwback to those OG Iron Men, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
I want to talk about now, let's talk about the whole selection of his friends. So, like, anyone who's popping up in your mind, negative or positive, just go so you can talk about Flash, you can talk about his love interest, talk about, once again,
You have
spoilers,
30 seconds.
MJ,
Oh god.
everything like that. So, talk about what do you think about all those.
Wow, we're just gonna...
All right, MJ, good for those little one-liners, funny jokes, just kind of be the kind of social outcast. I enjoyed her little clips. They're very short-lived, and I'm glad they kept kind of like the MJ thing on the side burner and just like revealed it at the very end.
Right.
Liz, probably I thought it was a pretty weak relationship with the romance. Like there's kind of like hints that it was very obvious actually that there's like romantic involvement, but they never really actually put a lot of effort into it. So
It didn't really feel like it.
Yeah, it
It
didn't
just, like,
feel
tell you.
very real.
Right.
It didn't feel like Peter was like super interested in it. He seemed to have way.
It seemed like it a bit at the start.
Yeah.
But that's kind of about it.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I kind of liked it. I think she was kind of boring, but I think that's fine as a one-off
Yeah.
character. And I think it really showed, like, just how. Because even just with other high school stuff, like he obviously still wants to be at high school or doesn't
Yeah.
really want to, but he still goes there and he still has friends there and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But like he doesn't really. Like at the homecoming dance, right? He just like pieces out, doesn't even like,
Yeah.
talk to her and stuff like
It's
that.
like
And she doesn't
He's got
even...
more
Hey.
important stuff
Yeah.
to do.
It's
She
like,
doesn't
hey,
even
be-
follow him.
Mhm.
Like, you know, if my date ran out on me, I'd be like, WTF, and I'd fucking run after them.
Yeah. And it seemed like even on her end, like when he actually finally asked her out, there wasn't. She seemed to like, oh, like this guy seems all right. Like maybe I'll give him a shot. There wasn't any like really emotional attachment between the two.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, there's this super pretty girl I want to go. And she's like, hey, it's this nerdy guy who's really smart and kind of impresses me.
I also like how it went
know.
from going to homecoming to she's my girlfriend.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
did say that.
My girlfriend's dad, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it was more
Ah,
like a
makes
joke,
sense.
but maybe it's just like an
Yeah,
awkward
yeah.
teenager's like, oh, that's my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like,
But
that's
that
how it works.
I had to step out. We're talking
Mhm.
about Liz right now, is that what's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Not good.
Ned, I liked a lot. Flash, good clips, but I feel like there were some parts like I feel like they wanted to make him feel like he had more of a role, but he didn't.
Mm.
There are some things that made you think he's gonna have like there's gonna be more of a conflict between the two.
Like they're gonna
Sequels.
fight.
Yeah, like there's gonna be some sort of like actual tension between the two, like like a fight
Right.
or something. Then where Peter's finally gonna put him in his place.
Yeah.
And then that just never happened.
Yeah, well, Flash is like different than because the Flash in
Animated.
that as well, but also
Oh, yeah.
in pretty much in all of them, like, he's just like a really big jock dude, and he just like fights
Yeah.
people. Whereas they switched it up as they did with like tons of characters in this universe of
I
Spider-Man.
think they're trying to stay away from the bullying aspect. I think
Right.
that's like a kind of like almost like a whether you like it or not, like a
It's a
Peter.
I mean, he's still-
It is, but it's not slamming.
It's not
Peter
physical. It's
Yeah,
just like
that-
he's making fun of him and calling him penis Parker.
Parker. And he,
Great,
and even
great joke.
even
I don't know if that's better than physical bullying though.
but the way they play it off though to me is not that he's name calling him,
I
but
feel
they
bad for anyone called Peter because now they're just gonna get called penis.
yeah, like to me they play it off enough where it seems like they could be like semi-friendly or acquaintances because even the thing like when
Yeah.
he's going to swim he like runs and smacks him all in the ass in like a fun way, so like I think they really put the line
Where you said that, I don't know.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
I was
know
getting
that.
smacked in the ass in a fun way.
I don't know.
I think they didn't want to make him a full-on bully. They just wanted tension there because he was already bullied twice in the 2 other ones, if people know. And then I think he'll be in further editions as well, so that could escalate. But I think he's always just gonna be like this type of character. Like his car will get stolen, like something funny will always happen to him.
When he yells down the elevator shaft, did anyone here? Did Parker reply at all to that?
No.
No. Okay.
Do they know Peter?
I thought it would be kind of funny if there was like a low yes out of the tunnel or something.
Maybe
as
there
he's
was.
falling.
Maybe there was. It was very quiet, perhaps.
So.
There's a lot.
Maybe it's someone else in the
Tyler,
theater.
don't. It could be fun. Imagine that world.
You just gotta watch it with the subtitles when it comes out.
True.
The teacher got surprisingly dark at that one point.
Oh, at the end. Yeah.
No, the field trip, where he said like,
Don't want to lose another.
I don't want to
Oh,
lose.
yeah.
I don't want to lose a student on a field trip.
Again. Oh, right.
Like,
Yeah, I love that guy. That's the guy who played Bill in Freaks and
Mhm.
Geeks. He's just a funny dude. Just a weird dude.
Mhm.
That's
all I got on side characters.
Oh, I guess we
remember.
just saw
And-
that guy, the main character, the chair guy.
Ned?
Chair
Yeah,
guy.
no, he's good.
Oh, that's okay.
Not big enough character to be talked about.
Okay.
MJ, she was cool. I liked her quick little lines thrown in there, and it was cool that she was kind of like, she was there and part of the story, but just on the back burner for like future sequels and such. And then
I would hope so.
Liz, her relationship with Peter, that was dead in the water. It wasn't going anywhere.
Wow,
I felt
negative.
the whole time in the movie, I'm like, this isn't gonna go anywhere. Like, why are they even trying? There's no fireworks here at all.
Oh, wow.
And Flash, I just felt was a sissy. I felt like he was too much of a sissy. I would have liked some the smack on the ass and just like the DJ Penis Parker.
I don't think he ever said that.
He was DJ Flash. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I like that.
he was
I-
saying Penis Parker.
I just I don't know, he was bullying, but that kind of I get that's a form of bullying, and in today's society that is
I think he was just more of a nuisance to Peter than I think he was just someone pushing against him than a bully. And I think they deliberately went for that. They didn't want you to call Flash a bully. You want to call him a prick or something, you know?
Yeah, well, even that, I didn't even feel like he was a prick. I just felt like, this guy needs
He's
to be
yelling.
dropped.
When I say penis, you say Parker. You don't think that's a dick?
I didn't feel like
That's
he
a
was
dick
like
move.
I didn't feel like he was
Literally,
a
it's a
dick. I
dick
just
move.
thought this guy's such a fucking sissy.
He's
Just
constantly
You
calling
just
out
love that
Parker.
fucking word. A
Just
fucking
drop
sissy.
the sissy right now, Peter. And then Ned. Oh my God, Ned. I would build Legos with him any day of the week. Let me tell you, this guy.
This guy knows how to build Legos.
He does. I saw that Lego Death Star. I'm like,
Do you have a Lego Death Star?
I have a Lego Star Destroyer, Lego AT-T.
That's not what I asked.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not as cool as Ned. But you know,
He tried to play it off.
If
He don't let
Ned-
none of
I
that.
got everything else.
If Ned comes up to me and puts that Lego Darth Sidious on my shoulder, I'm gonna high five this guy. I want to learn that handshake.
Smack him on the ass.
You know what?
Smack him on
Ned,
the
Ned, bigger man than I would not give my friend the Darth Sidious to put on the top. I would put that on top.
He's Spider-Man, though, you know?
I
And,
know,
and he's
but
been
he's
through
the guy in the chair.
He went through a tough
This
time,
guy in
you
the
know?
chair.
That's true.
I would love that
I might
Ned
still
in
put
the
it.
chair as my guy in the chair. He's
He's a good guy in the chair. I like how they did the chair scene in the school library.
What are you
Or the
doing?
computer lab.
I'm watching porn.
I definitely saw that line coming. I was like, are they actually going to say that?
I didn't.
I
I was
didn't
surprised. I
expect
said this to Dylan in the theater. I was surprised how overly PG-13 they were. They said bullshit a lot. They end the movie on a pseudo F-bomb. She doesn't drop it, but we all know.
Mhm.
The porn thing, they made multiple sex
They did
jokes.
fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah, she said, I'd F Thor. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Even when they call him Penis Parker, I was very
Yeah.
surprised because there's a lot of younger people.
MJ
You know what I mean?
just throwing out the middle finger casually.
Yeah, so I liked that. It just caught me off surprise because I thought it'd be way more kid friendly. But I guess that's good because the other ones kind of are.
I would say it's pretty alright because with
it's pretty alright.
it's
It
I think it's
little
fine
blew my
for them
mind.
to do that in a PG
Yeah.
13 film because in today's society that stuff's a lot more common among younger kids than
Hooligans.
what. Yeah, in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man's that sort of stuff among our the age group that this movie is for isn't as common.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's a lot more just the way our society's evolved. That stuff's much more common around that age group. So for us, it's it's weird to see that for
Yeah, they're definitely trying to go for
our
the
old-
modern take.
yeah,
Us
exactly.
old
And
timers.
very, very modern, and I think that's great that they did that.
Yeah, no, I think it worked. I was caught off guard.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so. I was like, he could be in a Deadpool movie.
One last thing with Ned, I thought that was cool when he was actually pulling up the facts on how to drive a car for Spider or for Peter.
yeah.
He's like the turn signal,
Yeah.
the lights, the headlights,
Yeah.
and it was very weird seeing Spider-Man in a car driving too.
Yeah, I didn't love that.
No,
I wish he would have kept webbing. I don't know if they
Kept
need-
webbing.
Yeah, like I
came across the park situation.
Yeah, but he was around a bunch of buildings, so he didn't need to be driving
like,
a car.
But like, okay, so because you just got your L recently,
Mhm.
so the first time you got in a car, was that how bad it was? I thought that was so unrealistic that someone could.
It wasn't his first time though, which I guess makes it worse because he said he's been
In a
driving in
parking lot.
parking lots of May.
but he was pressured though. He had to hurry.
True.
I'd say honestly, he did a pretty good job. He was speeding down some roads and didn't. hit
Yeah, I think if you
anything.
take in the adrenaline
He-
factor, and
What? No, he destroyed like a bunch
Okay,
of
that's
bikes and
because
stuff.
Ned told
That's why
him-
your bike is broken, because he ran over his
Yeah.
car.
Okay,
that part was unnecessary.
Property
But after
damage?
that, he did a good job driving.
property.
Until he just flipped the car. And
Okay, that's
smacked.
because Ned said to turn right, like as he was past the turn,
And he used his web.
and he did a very stupid decision to try and drift with a web.
That was a great idea, though.
Terrible
It was a
idea.
great
I
idea.
thought it
There's
was
no
a
way
good
that
idea.
worked out for him.
But it almost could have.
I feel
But there's
like,
no way it
That
did.
would've been
The
cool.
car flipped right side up at the end though.
It did work.
He
out
still
for
could have
him.
kept driving.
True.
Though.
He could have. Totally.
Doesn't matter.
I feel like
Terrible.
property damage was like buildings to Man of Steel in this movie. Like the amount of stuff he destroyed in that first chase scene while he was Spider-Man. He's breaking people's fences. He's breaking people's like windows, like
Chimneys.
Treehouse.
Yeah, treehouse.
Yeah,
There could have been a kid in
Their
there.
sheds. Like I get
There
it.
could have been an entire
There's a
kindergarten class
father
there.
who is now going to be a villain because he spent hours on that treehouse. Days, years maybe.
Like this is a quick nitpick thing, I guess. Like he was in a chase, but I felt like there was times he was deliberately destroying stuff, and I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, there's places where
He was
there
amped
trying
up
to
on
jump over
adrenaline.
them.
He's a kid.
I
He's
guess,
gonna
but he,
destroy stuff.
he can jump over that fence. He chooses to like jump through it. I was a little.
He
caught
likes to
off guard.
run. He's not.
He likes to destroy
can
things.
be
He
concentrated.
jumped over the
Yeah.
fence at school. He likes to
Yeah,
jump
he
over
has a little
things.
I'm not
Henry
saying
Cavill
he can't. I'm
Superman.
just saying he likes to run. Like he was running through that golf course. He just runs.
Because
a
he
lot.
couldn't web.
with the
Yeah.
water, what the fucking sprinklers?
The
That's
water
sprinklers.
was.
That I liked, and I
Sprinkles.
liked when he got to that building one time and there was nothing there, and one time he was swinging and he just fell on the ground. I like that we had seen stuff we had never seen in the Spider-Man movie, like
Yeah.
and him being afraid of heights when they went up.
That was really good.
Yeah, like I like it did still feel like his first time. So
It's like
Although it went from
go
him
web,
being afraid
go
of
web.
heights.
go web, go,
Go web, go.
fly,
It went
up
from
and away, web.
him being afraid of heights to doing some incredibly ballsy maneuver over a helicopter,
Adrenaline.
which was a sick scene, but it's like that. You got over that real quick.
Liz was in trouble.
Yeah, true.
Back to the point, Jessica. What did you think about the side characters as we try to reel ourselves
Okay,
back?
so we started with Mary Jane first.
Mhm.
I liked her character until I kind of found out it was MJ, and then I kind of felt like it didn't really fit. Obviously, they're going to be able to change that, though, because there'll obviously be chemistry that builds, but it just kind of threw me off. I was like, oh, it's an interesting way to start their relationship, because that's supposed to be the main, like, love story for him, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so
they get married.
there you go. So,
Wow, spoilers.
Oh fuck off! They're probably not even gonna get
Spider-Man
there.
4.
Yeah.
When Tom Holland's like 30.
Speaking of MJ, I feel like she was almost more. You could see her as more of a bully than Flash.
Yeah.
Pretty easily.
I don't think so.
Like everyone took her jokes like very.
But she kept the
casually.
jokes within the group. Once again, she did not make a room champ
That's
penis
true.
Parker. I think there's levels of the.
But was she really part of the group? She was just.
They all
there.
apparently were part of the group.
She's
That's
part of
a-
the group.
That's okay. That's a negative I have. They just really. Any event they had, they all did the same thing. Like, oh, we're
They're
all
all
going to this
there, yeah.
party. We're all in the same fucking math squad or whatever it was. We're like, we're all doing this trip. Like, that was my only problem. That like, oh, we're all setting up for the homecoming dance.
Yeah.
It was like very strange. Like the characters just kind of needed
Yeah.
to pop up there when they needed them to, you
Mhm.
know. And even then, I didn't feel like MJ was actually friends
It
with
was
these
a small
people.
school.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't feel like she was part of the group, but
No,
then she
it
was
was feel
always
just to
there
set up
and
like
being
she's
a-
gonna be MJ, so make
Yeah.
sure she's in a lot of scenes.
I think it was
the
like
whole
a-
film. She was kind of a dick to
yeah.
everyone,
hang out in detention and draw people that are, like,
Mhm.
miserable. And,
Yeah.
like,
and then draw the teacher.
yeah,
Mhm.
so...
What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, I think if you're in a math group, you just kind of form a good bond with everyone else. So.
Do you? Have you been in a math group before?
No, I haven't.
No,
I didn't have
fuck
many
you.
bonds in high school, I guess.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Continue,
You just
Jessica.
laugh it off.
I had no bonds.
And then Liz, yeah, I kind of, whatever, she's gone, I don't really care.
Mm.
I really,
It's done. We're past it.
yeah, she was there, she got us started on the storyline, and that's about it. I really have, she was there wasn't chemistry, I didn't feel like, when she had her scenes with Tom Holland. And, you know, that kind of scene that was supposed to be the awkward asking her out part, I was just kind of like, it didn't really have the same effect. I don't know. So, I'm interested to see how Mary Jane does in the next one, because Liz, she was just kind of there.
Blip on the radar.
Yeah.
The first fling.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, that one blonde girl was in a lot of scenes.
Betty Brandt. Mm-hmm.
Betty Brandt.
Mm-hmm.
And
She
had very little to do with anything.
No, that's a setup
You need some
for the
back
future.
characters.
The Betty Brandt, she ends up working at the Daily Bugle. She is J. Jonah Jameson's assistant. She's the Elizabeth Banks played her in the original Spider-Man. Yeah, so she is a character that will come on. So when I saw, apparently they said her name was like Danielle or something, so they were lying about that too. And the second I saw Betty Brandt, I was like, oh, like, so they did a lot of setup, like the MJ thing, like that. We'll get into Don Glover's character later, like a lot of stuff that's gonna pay off down the line. Like they are looking at this, like that's why I say decades. Like they're looking at Spider-Man 6 right now. Like they're planning little stuff here. So
well, yeah, I was gonna say I love like the her character and the other guy on like the Daily News thing.
Good,
I thought those were so funny just because they were like so intentionally awkward and like just the way they zoomed in on their faces.
Their credits and like editing the guy.
Thank you, Spider-Man.
Yeah. Homecoming's this weekend. I already have a date. Okay. Like they were good. Yeah, they were good.
Do a transition. It goes green screen for a second before it actually pops up.
Yeah. What about Ned? I don't think you talked about Ned yet.
Ned, that's chair guy.
Mm-hmm. Chairman.
Yeah,
we don't have Ned to not getting a lot of.
Well, Taylor would build Lego with him, so that's the ultimate
That's creepy.
compliment.
Yeah, so I mean, there's that.
This actor's getting a restraining order against Taylor right now.
Please don't.
I like.
I think that needs to make him all on board.
Please don't.
Please. I miss you.
I liked his character. I thought he was kind of a fun character to be able to bounce quips off of. And, you know, it's kind of nice that, you know, they were very diverse with the cast. Like, normally when you get teenager movies, everyone is always, like, just tiny little figures. So it was kind of cool, too, that they also diversified in that sense. And I will say, I really, Kim Possible.
Kim Possible. What about
the
Kim
guy in the chair? Wade, is that his name? No one knows Kim Possible here?
I don't remember Wade.
The guy that has all the computers,
I know
he like
Shigo,
sits in the dark.
The chair guy.
Yeah, the chair guy.
Okay, yeah.
Made me think of Kim Possible's chair guy. So
Okay.
that was a long.
Oh yeah, I remember Wade. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Yeah.
Great comparison.
Would they phone him and be like, hey, like,
Yeah,
we have,
what's
okay.
the stitch?
Yeah, I just
Bum,
didn't
bum,
want,
bum.
I knew that was the tagline. I just didn't want to say it because. What are you doing?
Sorry, I saw something floating there. Keep talking.
Was it the
That's your
hood of
hat.
your hat?
Yeah. I didn't know it was gonna like distract
Don't
you.
wanna
from your
surprise
dream.
you.
Why is it
Taylor's
like my head?
Taylor, don't surprise you, but it's been there the whole time.
And I just because I don't want you to get shocked later, there's also sunglasses up there.
What? Oh my god!
Even though we're inside and
Yeah.
it's like 10.
Please restrain him.
I had no idea I was gonna pull you out of your conversation. I
When
would've
people
left
look
it.
like a fucking weird on the cast, I'm gonna call them out.
So a couple of other things that I liked about him is, you know, we'll talk about it more at school, and then like every scene his head like comes in and asks some kind of random question.
Yeah.
Can you summon spiders?
You eggs. Man, leave me alone.
So I thought he was a fun character. I definitely did enjoy him. There was a couple things, you know, that, you know, he calls and he's like, you know, you need to listen to me, and he just like keeps talking. Like, I think if someone called me and said something, especially when I'm carrying alien artifacts in my backpack, I might listen. You know, just
And drop the ball there.
yeah. So,
But he is also clearly not the most intelligent.
No.
no. But,
Even though he is like,
He's book smart. He's
He
not
was on
street
the
smart.
decathlon.
he knows numbers.
Yeah, he's book smart.
He can
He knows
operate
numbers.
3 separate computers at the same time.
Well, two.
And he can hack Tony Stark
yeah.
stuff, which is
I saw
thought-
3 screens.
Did you?
I thought I saw 3 screens.
In the computer lab?
Yeah.
I saw two.
Yeah, too.
And it's also like, you're saying he can handle 3 screens, but also like the better option would have been to do 2 side-by-side computers rather than
I thought
having
about
to
that
spin.
too.
Obviously, it's fun to
I think for the comedic
shoot back.
value,
But I'm
yeah.
just saying, like, he's clearly not like that. Wasn't the most intelligent thing.
He just wanted to be the chair guy, and you can't be a chair guy if you don't roll around on the chair.
That's true. Yeah, good point.
I think, is that all the side characters?
I think so.
You talk about Flash?
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, he was there.
Mhm.
I honestly didn't pick up that he was supposed to be the bully that like beats him up
Yeah.
in the cafeteria. So, I mean, yeah, he got made fun of, but, you know, I was same thing. I thought someone would get punched. You know, same thing. I didn't see that as this whole big, you know, high school rival.
Right.
So, but I definitely can see what you're saying, too, about, like, slapping his ass and, you know, kind of
Let's
being...
talk about this ass slap.
It caught me off guard, and that's where I was like, okay, they're still friendly enough to do this, I guess, you know.
I mean, they're in all these clubs together.
They are.
Yeah.
They're all... Anytime
I mean-
Peter talks in school, Flash is like, oh, that's not true, Peter. Like, he's in the background. It's like, okay.
You say they were like putting these plants, like seeds in here for like future films. Do you think they were insinuating something there for like Spider-Man 6 or something?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about all
Shooting
that.
all the way to Spider-Man 6.
So, yeah, I think he was there.
He was. I think for Flash, I didn't love the character, but
Really? I thought you were going to have to animate series. I feel like he's very similar to, like, not bully Flash when he's just kind of like trying to be a big guy.
I was gonna say I didn't love the character, but I like that they did something different with him. I don't know if I necessarily like it more than the Flash in other iterations, but I mean it's something different, and that's obviously what they wanted to do with a lot of these characters. So from that perspective, it's fine, and maybe it'll grow on me later. But I just didn't really find him that funny.
Yeah.
And I know obviously his jokes are supposed to be like lame, and that's part of it, but. I don't know, like, obviously, like, part of the cheese is what makes Spider-Man so good, and, I don't know, I just didn't love his jokes, I guess, that's probably the big thing. I really liked Ned, I thought he was phenomenal. I think he was the perfect sidekick. And it was funny, the scene where he's, like, in his room holding the Death Star, and he finds out he's Spider-Man, like, obviously that scene was in the trailer, but that's something I totally forgot about, and I was like, they caught me off guard, I didn't remember that was going to happen at some point, so...
Taylor
I like that
probably
reveal.
cringed at that scene.
Oh, I do every time.
When he dropped the Death Star.
Why?
It did trigger me.
It's
That's 3,000 pieces.
You can rebuild it.
It
That's the
was
fun.
like
They didn't manage to
3,083.
rebuild it.
Was it? It was more than 3,000.
Even worse.
3,089.
I wouldn't drop the Death Star over that.
No,
I
me
can say
neither.
that right now.
You wouldn't?
No, you
No,
gotta
I
like
would
set
put
it
it
on
down.
the bed. And
Or
then,
just keep holding it.
He wasn't that far from the bed. He could have easily put it on the bed.
There are many solutions to the problem.
I don't know what it's like, though, to discover one of my friends is Spider-Man. So I don't know what that shock is like. Do you?
No, but I mean, Death Star, Spider-Man. You know, Spider-Man doesn't outweigh it enough for me to drop the Death Star.
Especially because he would have like watched him crawl across the roof. He could have like set it down while it was happening instead of like watching the whole thing and then being so surprised.
I feel like I might have been spooked enough to just throw it at him.
You know,
It's even worse.
Is that?
all the pieces go everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Not in
That's
one
horrible.
area, but
That's
everywhere.
awful.
Anyway.
3,000.
Yeah, no,
pickup.
I thought Ned was a really good character. I think, like, I guess the only really companionship that Peter has is through, like, MJ and Gwen and stuff like that, and the other ones, and then Harry. But this is quite a different friendship than the Harry Osborn one, and is he a comic book character, this Ned guy?
I don't know if he's technically like Ned, but he's based off someone in the Ultimate series.
Who's, like, kind of the same thing,
Yeah,
where he's
yeah.
more jokey?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I liked him. I liked when he had the web shooter and he used that. I like how they didn't, like, overdo that. Like, he just did, like, one little thing and then he was just, like, too excited
He was
to even...
aiming too with his other hand, like he was holding his wrist too.
He sure was. The wrist rockets.
He should have said "Go Web" or something, though. You know.
Go web.
Which scene was it?
When he shaves him some
Peter.
shot.
With the bus in
Yeah.
the dark.
When he's fighting the punchy guy.
You don't
Yeah.
remember that he...
No, I remember that, but he didn't shoot from his wrist. He was like holding it very
No, that's
awkwardly.
true.
I'm
I
pretty sure he
thought
had it on his
he
wrist,
was
didn't he?
holding
No, I
He was
think
just holding
so.
two hands. He just like pressed the top.
Oh, well, I don't know. He had both his hands and it was dark,
I
so...
thought I saw his
Maybe he was
wrist like
holding
this.
one hand under and like pressed on top, but it wasn't on his wrist.
The amount of arguments we've already had about the most pointless
I don't know.
shit so
I'm going with
far.
Taylor and Dylan. Like I feel like
I
it was,
swear it was like
yeah,
this.
because he
So
wanted to be
Go
Spider-Man.
Okay,
More
well...
on the wrist.
Mary Jane, she didn't seem like Mary Jane. I'll agree with Jessica there. But, you know, I think this could be, like, the start of something that she can kind of develop as as her own character in later movies, I guess. Liz she was, like, pretty lame, but I was fine with it. I don't know. I guess I didn't really want to see more of her, so I'm fine that her storyline kind of ends here.
So much shade.
Well, like, she could come back, and it could be, like, a fun, like, Peter Parker has to pick between people. Like, I don't know. It could be fun, but, like,
Yeah,
she
but
was...
you're gonna pick between that and MJ, like
Who your first love?
She could get better. She could be
you
more
can't
very
call that
love.
a first
What?
love. You
I would
know?
love
say
that
that the attractive senior girl in high school.
I think Dylan's right on this one.
I'm on to something.
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, I think
what
she'll
other
come
characters from school is there? I don't think there is any.
No.
I can't
Nothing
remember.
relevant. I don't
Yeah.
think.
So go ahead, Travis.
I think with all the side characters, this reminds me a lot of Amazing Spider-Man, where I feel like they are good additions, but I feel like a lot of them are different for the sake of being different. I really like
Fair
Flash. Out of all of them, I thought Flash I'm fine with him not being like a bully. We've seen that twice already. I like that he's just kind of this nuisance. I never got the vibe that they were going to have this big showdown, a big fight, or a big confrontation. I thought, oh, this is that annoying guy at school that everyone has had. You know, that one kid that like you're like, you don't hate him, but you just get on each other's nerves. I liked it. I liked Flash because I felt he was kind of like the animated one where he's like, he seems like he's constantly obsessed with trying to outdo Peter, and he's always trying to be better than everybody. When you see that animated series where he's like, I'd be tougher than Spider-Man. I could beat Spider-Man if I like. That's where he's just so over the top. It's comical. It's not like cocky jock. It's just like egotistical. Like I said, little prick,
Right.
and I liked that. I think I'd like to see him in more movies, and one day he's gonna do that part where Ned, where he saves Spider-Man. He's gonna save Spider-Man one day. You know, I think he'll be that guy's above the joke until one day he'll prove his worth. But he's never gonna be the big character. Ned, I like enough. I think the other reason why he's in there, same thing. I think it's because we've never had this type of relationship with Spider-Man. Harry did not know he was Spider-Man, so they didn't have that bond. MJ and Gwen know he's Spider-Man, but that's in a loving, caring way of like, oh, you should do this or you shouldn't do this. We haven't seen this in the Spider-Man movie, so again, another character that I feel like he's in there to do something different. Liz, I can't judge her because she, I don't know what actress could make this role good. It's very, very flat. There's not much for her to do. I think the love dynamic is probably the weakest part in this movie because it's literally like I heard you talking about Tyler. It's just literally like he has a crush on her. She seems like she kind of is annoying, just knows who he is, but that's about it. But then the next time bumps into yeah, I'd love to go with you to Homecoming. You know, I felt like there was maybe scenes missing. If not, I just felt like they didn't write. I didn't buy enough for Liz to care about her, but for her to be yeah, I'll go to Homecoming with you. It seems like a lot of guys would be asking her. You know, and she's known as a popular girl, even though she's on this mathletes team or whatever.
Even though you can't be popular and
No,
be on
you're a
mathletes.
fucking loser from mathletes. You loser, get out of here. No, I
wish I was an athlete. I'm really bad at math.
Yeah, I think there wasn't much choice for her to be anything but just kind of a device to get us that big twist as well.
Yeah.
So I think that I wish they actually would have put a bit more in the love interest. I like that she left. I think Dylan's right. He could start dating MJ, and then one movie Liz comes back in the town, and it's just oh, this is the girl I first loved, and I really the one that got away, right? I could see that. They've done it. They did in Spider-Man 3. They're gonna do an Amazing Spider-Man 2. So it's a big thing in comics. Peter's always having to choose between something.
It's fun.
Yeah. So and then I like
Felicia. I just want Felicia.
I want Felicia too. I like that she ended up leaving and not in a good way. She kind of leaves, says, "Oh, you got a lot of problems. You got to fix them." I really thought they were gonna have this scene where she was gonna be "Yeah, you left me at the dance, but it's okay. You're still a good guy, Pete." I like that she.
The kiss scene never happened.
Yeah, I liked that. I like that she kind of left a little sassy and mad about it. I would have hated if they just put it back together. It would be oh, so Peter can just get away with anything, because then it kind of teaches him a lesson of oh yeah, I screwed up. That's a con of being Spider-Man, right? So I think she served the purpose of the role good enough. I think the character was just fine. It was all right. It
definitely feels like there's some scenes missing.
Yeah, and I don't think I missed anything else. I thought all the teachers that were in there were good. I can't believe Hannibal Buress is in there for nothing. He's a huge comedian right now. He's played the gym teacher. He's just there. There's a lot of teachers that are just there, but I thought they all did well and comedic and I really liked, I was going to say Flash when he, pretty much saved himself over all these people in the elevator. I liked when he was, and he was more concerned about the trophy.
Yeah,
and, can I tell Peter he's expelled? I really liked Flash in this movie. I want to see more of him. So.
Did you catch that, too? Liz was left in there, and the teacher got out of the elevator first before Liz.
Well, and I didn't understand, too, when the teacher's who's next? And Flash, pushed everyone aside. You'd feel like you'd let the girls go first. Even the teacher would be sorry, Flash, you're going to, you're even the replacement. You shouldn't even...
Maybe Flash's brother is the kid who was lost before.
True, and he feels the need, I can't do this again, so...
I don't know if he was the most competent of teachers.
No.
No, definitely.
I don't think many of them really were, though.
That has a lot of...
Yeah. Aunt May, you want to talk about her?
Yeah, I didn't really like Aunt May in this movie.
I'll back you.
Involvement.
Not that she was different from, the classic Aunt May. I just didn't find her very funny. I just didn't enjoy the scenes when she was on screen, I guess.
Yeah, I think even though I didn't fully enjoy them, I think we need more scenes of her and Peter together. And I really wish, I don't want the whole fucking origin of Uncle Ben getting shot, but I wish they would have, well, no, I didn't want them to be like, oh, a couple of years ago this happened, like a flashback scene. I really wish they hint at it, and they say like, oh, all the stuff May's been through, and like she's had a tough time lately. If this is your first Spider-Man movie, you never read a comic book, you're gonna have no fucking idea what that stuff is. So I wish that moment when she confronts him about being late and out all night, I thought she was gonna drop the like, I don't want something to happen to you like your uncle did,
right.
And I was like, oh, this is perfect. We're gonna tie.
They should have.
Yeah, and they didn't really. So like, I know on purpose they were like staying away from the origin, but I actually didn't like that. I would have liked a bit more notices of it.
Yeah, you don't need to like flashbacks and go into it fully. You can just
talk
like,
about it.
A little mention, and almost like an Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly.
It would give the character a lot more depth.
Yeah,
as far as we know, this May never had an Uncle Ben.
Yeah, and I felt that her comedic scenes were all right. I didn't really laugh. Like the restaurant scene was fine, but it wasn't that. The thing I think I could like in the future is once again they're doing something different. Don't want to be like the other films. She finds out. We've never had that in a Spider-Man movie. For the Tobey ones in Garfield, Aunt May never knew that he was Spider-Man, so we're gonna have to deal with that. So I think in the sequel, I think she was just. For me, all right. I didn't really enjoy her, but I think the second one will be a bigger sign because she
and even like all the jokes, like there were so many jokes that just like that it's hot Aunt May, right? And that was in Civil War, and that's like the only jokes.
I feel like we're over it now.
Yeah,
and I feel like they kind of purposely they're trying to make her not hot Aunt May. Like they're giving her like really big, baggy clothes with the glasses and the hair. That's like I don't know. I think I like when Stark is making those jokes when he's like, hey, Aunt May, like, you wearing something skimpy, something like that. Like, I like when he does that, but then I felt it was a reoccurring thing of like, okay, we get it, Marissa Tomei is a knockout, but like, what is about her actual character? And I think we didn't get that. I like the scene where she was getting him ready for the homecoming, like, I think we needed a bit more to, like, I didn't fall in love with Aunt May, and I want to. I want it to be, like, she should feel like a family member. And to me, she feels like that family member you talk to every once in a while, and you avoid at the Christmas dinner because it's like once they've had a couple, you're like, oh, they talk way too much, they're a little annoying. So,
Generally, it is the ants that do that as well. So
Yeah.
Those ants.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any opinions?
I pretty much agree with everything. I did not like her as Aunt May. I didn't have any problems with her, but she didn't do anything special. She's just kind of there to add, because she is such a key character in Spider-Man.
Peter's got to live somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't live in a box.
Someone's got to support him,
Well,
so
now who's he going to keep it from?
Yeah, that's my worry now that I feel like we've, like, once again, I guess I can't say that because we had that in all the other Spider-Mans, but now Ned knows, you got Stark who knows.
There's no going to be sneaking into the house.
And Aunt May's going to know, too.
Yeah, so it's the thing of, like, if Aunt May's kind of like, oh, why are you late? It's like, well, I know why he's late. Obviously, the big thing is going to be that she just doesn't want him to do it, I guarantee. That'll be the thing. Like, I don't want you to put yourself
Maybe she'll become an Avenger as well.
I don't think so. Especially Tony Stark is not single anymore, so there goes our show.
Yeah, there goes that.
Yeah, damn. No one's shipping it anymore. Well, but you guys...
I'm trying to think of who she could pair up with now. Captain America?
Thor single.
Captain America's busy.
Cap's busy.
Cap's
Vision.
already taken, though.
That's what...
Yeah, true.
And then Vision and Scarlet Witch, I think.
True. I think they might be broken up.
Let's bring Bucky back.
Black Panther's
Bucky.
Black
That's who you want Aunt May. The guy who killed Tony's parents and did all this damage.
Why does your boyfriend have a gigantic metal arm?
Yeah. And if you say 5 words back to back, he turns into a fucking psycho. One of them's Homecoming. So yeah, let's hook up Aunt May with this guy.
I didn't see that train car.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That'd be great. Pierre just walking in and Bucky's like, hey.
I want to see this movie.
Oh God.
Ben made Ben.
Yeah. What about you guys over there?
Things.
Aunt May?
You can go first.
I honestly
So kind.
couldn't remember any scenes that she was in except like the restaurant and the end scene. Like if you brought up the homecoming one, I forgot about that. I guess he came home late. Was there anything else?
Yeah, there was. He came right when Tony took the suit away, because remember, and this is why I thought he get more emotional, he said, I lost the internship.
Yeah.
And he started to cry, and then I felt like that scene was really quick. Like, she was like, it's going to be okay,
Take
it's
a
not
shower.
garbage.
Yeah.
Which was fun. Like, it was alright, but it was just like, I felt like every time we were about to get that, oh, here's your pivotal Peter May scene, and like, got caught. I was like, oh, okay. Like, okay.
I guess there was a scene in the beginning, walks in, put on some clothes. Like, I don't know. I'm sure they're in there, it wasn't
clothes?
memorable enough. No. Aunt May's scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. I did like the ending scene, I'll say that. When she walked in, just like, what the fuck? And then I cut. I thought that was fun.
It was good.
It was good.
Taylor Field.
I liked her. She seems like a really cool aunt.
From those 5 scenes.
From those 5 scenes, yeah, they definitely portrayed the whole like, at least with her character, like she acted like she didn't know she was an attractive aunt throughout the film, and that they keep throwing all of these like kind of like sexualized kind of jokes, like she's attractive, like in the restaurant with the blarg or whatever that was, and the guys.
Blarg?
I don't know.
And
Actually,
a wub,
so you could
wub.
be saying it right.
I wub you.
A wub, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You idiot! You know what wub was?
I don't know.
And
But
the
yeah,
waiter gives her scene.
I think she was. I didn't mind her. She's definitely no like old school Aunt May. Like,
She's
really-
not old.
No, she's
No,
not.
sir.
No.
And she's not in school.
So yeah.
When Taylor
fake
Mockenzie
laugh.
laughs,
Yeah.
that's when you know. I've had it a couple times. It
Whenever
really
Hat
hurts.
Boy.
I thought the ending was actually really funny. Like I was gonna do a full laugh, but my laugh cut in half as soon as the scene cut off when she was gonna drop the F-bomb, so I couldn't fully exert that laugh out there. But it was a good like
First world
almost.
fucking
Wow, what a
problem.
strange description of your own
Yeah.
laugh.
Yeah.
I feel like it getting cut off is part of the comedic value.
It was, but I couldn't laugh fully because it like cut off, and I was
You
like,
sound
I
like
was
a
choked by
You
the.
Are
didn't
you a
want to be
professional
like the guy
actor?
laughing when everything's gone quiet.
Well, and you wanted to
Yeah.
hear if she was actually gonna say fuck, didn't you?
A
Because
little
they're
bit.
allowed one fuck in PG-13, so they couldn't
They are?
correct it. Yeah, you're allowed one.
Because they didn't use it anywhere else.
No.
Some movies will go with 3 or 4 though.
But that's a rated R movie.
Ah, yes.
They did do a lot of other stuff besides say fuck.
A lot of
So,
shit. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
lots of shit.
Lots
Everyone
of
said
shit.
shit and bullshit a lot.
They
I-
really took their liberties.
They really bought a lot of quantity and shit. A lot of stocks in the shit
Yeah.
pile.
Mhm.
I wanted to shout out, one of the talking about Aunt May scenes where it's just like, oh, how's your aunt? And then in his Spanish, oh, it's a hot aunt. And then he, like, clips back, oh, how's your daughter in Spanish?
Oh, yeah.
I thought that scene was pretty prime.
Mm,
I don't know if he normally speaks other languages, but I just enjoyed that scene.
does now.
I think he just
Yeah.
really speaks Spanish because they showed him in Spanish class.
Yeah.
Speaking
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
good,
yeah.
so-
Oh, yeah.
Clearly the language he's taking.
It's a pretty typical high school thing these days.
It is.
I didn't do that, but many people have.
And as an
Yeah.
Avenger, you
And
need
many
to be,
people will.
A
Fluent in
lot of
Spanish.
people
Are.
need languages in high school. I think it's a course that is very recommended to take.
It's true.
Some sort of language.
It's true.
Yes.
I did it.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a requirement, really.
I mean, I don't
Yeah.
remember any of it, but I did it.
He remembered. He remembered. How's your daughter?
Yeah.
That's what he remembered.
That's all you need to know.
He didn't actually know what that guy said. That's just the only truth he remembered. And it worked out in this situation.
Boy. Well,
That could be a funny joke in like later movies if there's like a couple other situations where he has to speak Spanish. And
That's
I
all
don't
he
think
said.
that's the only words he knows.
uh,
You can do that, Marvel. You gotta pay me
oh
$1
yeah.
million every time it happens.
I
I
play
did-
intellectual property on that.
I totally forgot when I told the side characters I didn't put my 2 cents. I thought MJ was alright. I'm not a big... I think it's another sake of them making her be different. I'm not a big fan of... I think the character's alright. I don't know how I like it for MJ, and I'm someone that reads the comics. MJ's not like that. She's not an outcast. She's very perky. She's very out there. She's very preppy. She's very, go get 'em tiger. She's very friendly. And maybe she'll become that. But, like, in this movie... I don't know, and like
You need the red hair.
yeah, and you need the red hair. This is the thing people are going to talk about. Oh, skin color. I don't care if the person's green. I want the hair red. That's all I hear. Yeah, I don't care about. So I hope she, dyes her hair red. She probably won't. I feel like they're doing a lot of changes for the sake
They'll
of
probably dye it
changes.
like
Pink,
Purple.
green or
Yeah, green for Vulture.
yellow.
R.I.P. to Liz's dad.
Wow.
So, speaking
He's
of,
not dead.
yeah, he's in prison. Come on. Speaking of, life's end there, Speaking of Liz's dad, Vulture, the main villain here.
Vulture 101.
Tyler, what did you think about Vulture? We've talked about a little bit, but your overall thoughts?
Really well done. You could really see where he's coming from. Yeah.
If that's all you got, that's fine.
You can come back to me.
Okay, Taylor Field.
I think out of the Spider-Man villains, he's got to be my favorite.
Oh, fuck off.
I really, really liked him. I thought
Not
this-
Green Goblin or
Not
Doctor
Okay,
Not the
originally-
two icons.
originally-
Electro.
Okay, no. Or Dane
Originally-
DeHaan's Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Originally, Tobey Maguire's Green Goblin was my favorite. I loved him so much. He was an awesome villain. But I really liked how Vulture looked. I liked his motives. I liked what he was trying to do, and he just the things that unfolded in his life turned him into being a villain. And yet he wasn't he was bad, but he still had these like conditions and these things in his life that he was trying to meet for his family and everything. And he wasn't driven like insane or mad or anything like that, like we've seen with other villains. But he had these goals, and it was things in life that turned him down this path. And I just thought his suit looked so freaking cool. I love the claws, the jacket. Yeah. I loved his helmet. I loved how it had like a fighter pilot's kind of style to it, and then just the claws on his feet and.
Talons.
The talons.
His large talons.
And the wings, too. He was just awesome. I love the sound that his suit kind of made, like, as he flies in. Like, it just gives you the heebie-jeebies. It's so cool.
It gives you the heebie-jeebies.
He was such a badass villain.
I don't think I got the heebie-jeebies.
No heebie-jeebies.
I did a few times there.
I got a little.
I might have got a heebie.
I got a goosebump right now.
Not a jeebie.
heebie.
No jeebies in this household.
I have to say, when he opened the door, though, I was not expecting that. I thought it was like a dream sequence or something at first.
Oh God!
What?
It's
not BVS
I thought like he popped there, and I was like, whoa! And I thought he was gonna blink. Peter Parker would blink, and it would be a regular dad.
Thank
that was a
God they
flashback.
didn't
That was Uncle Ben the whole time.
I was worried something I was gonna happen.
I did not expect that.
I thought
there was a
30
moment in my
seconds.
mind. I was like, "This is Uncle Ben. Please."
Yeah, there was.
Don't
I
do
did
it.
think that they could they've changed MJ.
They
enough,
could
so.
still do it.
Yeah, oh God! But 30 seconds before the second they pull up to that house, I figured it out because I saw the big house and I'm like, clearly the parent's gonna answer the door, and just for some reason, like, oh, it's gonna be fucking Michael Keaton, isn't it? Which they did it purposely. Like, they didn't explain the last names because his name is Adrian Toomes, her name is Liz Allen in the comics, her name is still Liz Allen in this movie. So clearly there's some chicanery there, but like they like on purpose, like, oh, we're not gonna tell you this shit. So it was kind of a fake misdirect because they didn't give us all the info we were allowed, but I felt it happening, and I really liked that twist. I thought that was really well done, and it like made it more personal.
I think that's one of my favorite scenes with Vulture and Spider-Man 2 is when the guy goes to like take the girl on the date, like there's that dynamic between the guy and the father figure, and
It's
so
like
I
times
feel-
1,000.
Yeah, I feel like they tackle that really well just because like he's the villain and Peter Parker knows that. And then when they were in the car and he pulls the gun out, like, and even before that, when you like he's just his facial expressions, like as he's realizing
he started talking about Spider-Man.
and I'm just thinking, Liz, shut up.
Wow,
Yeah.
come on.
Jesus, because she's just spilling the beans at this point. I mean, and you can see in Peter Parker's face.
You can't blame her. She doesn't know.
She doesn't know that there's beans in this
It's
jar.
Peter's fault for not
She's like,
revealing.
Spider-Man, hot topic, something to eat, casually talk about.
Exactly.
Casually.
Too busy taking her selfies to notice what's going on in the car.
Yeah, I love that when she's
like
like,
there's
look
like
at this.
yeah,
Isn't
just like
this
her
funny? And he's like, huh.
Yeah, that was actually really
Yeah,
good.
that-
Shut down.
When she was like, oh, what is the thing called again? The crochet or whatever it is?
Crochet.
Corsage.
Corsage, yeah. When she's like, oh, you got a corsage. Yeah, there you go. That's fine, yeah.
That's good.
Like, I honestly think from
I
the...
think crochet is a type of knitting.
It is.
It is.
Awesome.
It is.
She gave him those too. Oh, here you go, hold this for me.
My knitting needles.
Yeah, I honestly
Making a
think...
salad.
I think the scene from when he gets to the door to the scene where he goes back in Homecoming, I think that was my favorite portion of the movie. I think those were the best scenes. Because, like, you had the reveal, you had, like, the double reveal of Vulture, like, slowly putting it together. And that scene in the car when he threatens him is so damn good. Like, and he does it from a good way of, like, hey, I'll let this all go if you just have, like, make sure my daughter has a night, but not too good a night. Like,
Yeah.
he's so, I'm budging, I'm sorry, but he's so fucking good at being creepy Michael Keaton. He's so great, and he's phenomenal. He's the best villain since Loki, honestly. Like, this is, and they didn't kill him off. That's one of the best things.
Smart move.
I don't know if he'll come back. Michael Keaton's not really...
I thought he was gonna run into Kingpin in the jail or something.
I was hoping when they... Well, you never know. It could happen. But, like, once again, they didn't kill him off. I hope he comes back. They kind of left it open enough. So, yeah, I think easily... I like Guardians. I love Ego, but Vulture is up there. And starting the movie, people mention that too. Starting with him, I thought was good because they rarely do that with Marvel films. The villain is just so much in the background. This felt like he had a presence, and he had right motives. He's trying to help people, and they just took it all away. And the last point I'll make about the villain is he didn't want to destroy New York. He didn't want to destroy the world.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite things about this movie. And that's why I still like really, really enjoy this movie because it wasn't like, oh, and then I'm putting a bomb in New York and we're going to blow it to the ground. It was just like, no, he's still just trying to make money. Like, and Spider-Man's just trying to stop him. Perfect. Like, same way why I think Logan worked, you know, is like, it's just them trying to survive.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing, it's not world ending. So, and perfect.
I'll ask you this question because the way I figured it out is Vulture just kind of admired Peter Parker, like, for saving his life and saving his daughter's life. That's why he didn't reveal his identity to that other guy in prison. What do you think about it? Like, why didn't he confess? Like, why?
Well,
isn't he
let's
out
get
to
their opinions first. We'll talk about that
Okay.
after, because we'll talk about the end credit scenes together. Because that could
Okay.
go a bunch of different ways, perhaps. But because you probably don't know who the other guy is he was talking
no
to. do you?
idea.
Yeah, exactly. They made it pretty obvious, but you know.
He was the guy on the boat. With the car
He was that guy on the boat. Yeah.
Where the car hit him.
Mhm.
He was in the water.
Yeah. Tough
Oh,
way.
that
He
was
all
him?
fucked up in the
Yeah.
face.
The guy who was
He's
buying the
awful.
He
weapons.
has
Oh.
homicide on his record for crimes.
He's a bad dude.
Whoa.
Karen told me that.
Karen. I see. I keep thinking he's talking about the Netflix Karen when he says that. I'm like, what? I missed that scene. But no, it's fucking
That's your fault.
name her Kathy. Anything.
Go
It is my fault.
That's not what Tyler was thinking.
Oh, come on.
So, yeah, I do like that they did throw out that there is that one scene where it talks about, I'm only doing this to, support my family.
Mhm.
And then right after he picks up the anti-gravity gun and, shoots him.
Well, he
I
didn't
love
know that.
Yeah,
it
no,
was
I love
He
that
knew.
scene.
Part of him.
No, he didn't.
That's the only thing I didn't like. Because
Actually, he
I-
might have been just killed him with the anti-gravity gun, too.
I was fine with him killing him, but I didn't like that they made a joke right away because I felt like the rest of the movie, he's like this guy who's like, he'll go the extra mile, but he doesn't really want to.
Mhm.
But then in that moment, he just killed the guy. He's like, oh, I thought it was the
Well,
wrong
that's why
thing.
he's so calm, because he's okay to do it, but
Yeah.
he doesn't want to. So that's,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously...
I just didn't get why he didn't kill Spider-Man at the end, though. If he could
Yeah,
kill that
that was
guy,
what-
that's why I don't like that
Mhm.
scene, because he kills that guy. He's like, oh, whatever. He has Spider-Man dead the rights. He literally claws him out with the talons, and he has like a knife to him, and he just throws him aside when he sees the box. He's like, oh, why wouldn't you
Mhm.
cut Spider-Man's head off and then take that? So that's why I didn't like the killing scene, because it would have been like, oh, he won't kill, like that. I would have liked if they made that his line not to cross, right? Of like, oh, he's not going to kill somebody, so that's why he won't kill Peter. But I don't know why he didn't kill
Yeah.
Peter, and that really bugged me.
Mhm. That was probably my one issue with him, just kind of that ending
Yeah.
part.
Oh,
Because-
there's
Just
Jules.
The decision making was just.
That's
eh.
what villains do, though.
Just didn't
Like,
seem
oh,
right.
I've got you captured. I'm gonna give this long spiel while something else happens, so I can be dethroned.
And I just felt like he wasn't that until that happened. Like, even when he made that big speech, he's like, oh, I'm doing it to distract you. Like, it was, like, playing on the trope of being
Yeah.
a villain, but then at the end, like, he became the tropey villain, which that's the only negative I thought he was going to the point of, oh, we're gonna get, like, a non, kind of, by the numbers villain. And he wasn't, but this ending thing of, this box is still gonna be there, man. Like, Peter's, gonna stop you, you know?
But I think it just comes down to what he was prioritizing the most. Like, his whole plan failed, and he saw his opportunity there with those arc reactors. That's what he wanted, and he just obviously just totally forgot about Spider-Man because that was his goal.
I guess, I just, I don't know.
It does play back on the only reason I'm doing this is for my family. He's not doing it to kill Peter Parker.
But it would be smart to kill Peter because then nothing's gonna get in his
Well-
way, you know. And even then, I didn't like that. Actually, Peter doesn't really defeat him.
But he
Vulture
knows-
defeats himself.
It's the same thing as the guy that he killed. It's that knowledge is power. So even if he doesn't kill him, if he tries to do shit, he's got that knowledge over him. So he can tell people, go to the media, go police, whatever, right?
Fair enough.
So, I mean, there is that level as well.
One thing I really like about the villain is that he kind of started out, and his motives, I think in the beginning scene, and then a couple scenes later, it starts out and it's pretty classic where he, he's just trying to do this to support his family and stuff like that. And I was really hoping it would do more than that because, Guardians was this year and that movie was just all about family, and I was okay, what else do you got? We've kind of seen this already. And then, yeah, they really added layers on. It seemed like he did go a little bit insane just because he got so power hungry, running this business.
Yeah.
And it kind of transcended past just caring about his family. And obviously he does at the end, but it seems like he's just got, his mind has just been totally warped by doing this for however long he's been doing it. Did you have something? It sounded like
No, nope. It's good. It's done. It's settled.
What did you guys think about, the whole movie? They're going, oh, why don't we do, the suction or whatever he calls it? And then I don't know, it felt like it was going to be this big thing. They don't ever say what it is, and then it was just, him being able to suck to a plane. I was kind of like, oh, well, that was kind of...
My problem was that they talked about, I don't think it was that what they were... I don't know if it's that they were referring to. I thought they were referring to, one big job they were going to do.
That was the big job.
But I didn't understand that because I felt like
he
this...
puts the dome on, and then he goes, this better work, and then he opens the plane, right?
No, that I got. My thing is, I felt like the whole movie they were talking about this one big job, and I felt like it's something they've been talking about for years, but this airplane is going this certain night, so when he's like a couple days before, the Tinker was like, "Oh, we can pull off this big job," but not really because like that thing's not in the air yet. I felt like I didn't really understand what the big job was. Other than they got the technology to work was good, but they're like, "Oh, this one would make us lots of money," but it's like, well, it kind of has to be happening for you to initiate that. You know, it didn't really make sense there. So I think there was kind of a little.
Well, they knew that Stark was moving, or that the Avengers Tower was moving probably for months in advance. It's not something.
I guess, but that
you don't move
that
the Avengers.
I didn't buy them being able
like
to pinpoint the day and the time. Like, I know they have a lot of shit going on, and we talk about like the air.
They had some high tech stuff, man.
They did, so it's just like I didn't know if that was fully set up properly.
Yeah.
Like, this is the big one, because it's like if Keaton said no when that plane's gone, it's like, well, there goes your big one, I guess. Like. I don't know, kind of strange.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't want to do the big one at all because
No.
he, as I mentioned earlier, his whole thing was staying low key, and they probably would have been fine if Spider-Man hadn't gone and stopped him with the initial truck shipment that they were going to do.
Yeah, true.
He would have been okay with that, and then they wouldn't have had to do the big one, and then he just that got fucked
Yeah,
up.
I mean, I took it more the way Jessica did. I thought they were referring to like a technology.
Oh,
like
really?
the doing, I guess, like performing that sort of thing, like in the air on like a plane or something, more so than it being like a job. Just the way they were talking about it, it didn't seem like. I don't know. I just got the same impression as Jessica in that sense.
I'll look there on the rewatch.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Like I'd have to pay attention to that too because, but it didn't even like. Occur to me that was weird until we started talking about it.
Well, yeah, everything was about technology, so for them to switch about always talking about technology to heisting the plane, I didn't. If there was that connection, I missed it.
Yeah, the only reason I
guess because all of their heists are to get all this technology.
Yeah.
And they needed that technology to pull off the heist.
Yeah. I just took it as the heist thing just because at one point someone referred to it as the big one. And usually in every heist Ocean's 11 movie, they call it the big
I
one.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, there's always the big one. It's like, we
Do you remember when that was? Or
it was
just
very
early on.
Yeah, because right away Keaton's like, no, we're not going to do that. Like, that's too, like,
Right.
that would...
Yeah, because they did bring it up like 3 times.
Yeah, so... I don't know, and I like this is a side thing, like, you guys don't know him from the comics, but, like, the guy that was, like, the main guy doing the little toys and everything, he's called the Tinkerer. I was not a fan of him. Like, he doesn't have that...
very boring.
Yeah, and I felt like the actor was very bland delivering his lines. Like, I felt like it was not even a thing like, oh, it wasn't even like Liz, where it's like, she could be a great actress. I'm not going to know it from this role. Where this guy, I'm not trying to be mean, I just didn't think he was up to par. Like, he felt like somebody that, hey, we cast this one guy, oh, he can't do it, well, let's bring in this guy. I didn't like him. The Tinker is kind of over the top. He's a really older gentleman, so that's different, but yeah, I did not like the Tinker.
Well, yeah, it's weird, too, because so many characters in this movie are very cheesy, but I feel like the cheesy characters are more so like the high school characters and not so much the villain people. Like, even Shocker isn't that cheesy, even though he's super cheesy in the animated show, and I imagine the comics. So, yeah, I guess that was something they were going for with the villain, more to seem ominous, and I guess to portray them more as adults, more so than like the children.
I just thought he was boring.
Yeah, exactly. That's at the end of the day. That's the most important thing, is that he was just kind of boring.
And I think he'll be around for other movies because he's a Marvel character and he's known as like making gadgets and weapons for bad guys.
Yeah.
So that's my. I wish they would have made him more interesting.
They can either make him more interesting later on, or they can just make him have a smaller role, because he seemed like he should be more important than maybe he did. I guess it just didn't justify it with what we got.
I didn't mind him. I thought I obviously don't know him from any previous source material, so I thought he was just some guy who was good with the technology. So for me, and as someone who like doesn't know him from the comic books or anything else, it was fine for me. I didn't mind him.
Do you feel like he had like enough airtime to be warranted as like, oh, this character's probably kind of important? Because I don't know who this character either.
I didn't
from
think
the
he's
comics.
important at all.
He's like an actual Marvel.
It's
called the Tinkerer.
I didn't get the idea that he was important at all. He was
Cool,
just
man.
part of the team.
Yeah.
Part of Vulture's team, and without Vulture, he doesn't have any role.
Well, and I think that's
It'd be kind of funny if they're like just calling him the Tinkerer.
Yeah.
But yeah, now like knowing that he is like has a greater role in the Marvel universe, like they could have done more with him.
Well, that's my problem with him and the two Shockers. I felt like they were both really underutilized as well, too. Like, I thought he was going to be a big goon. It's strange, because I swear there's set photos of Shocker wearing, like, the full mask costume.
Really?
He
Yeah,
didn't
I would
wear
love to see that.
And I thought he was really, like, that's another, the guy with the gloves. It's another comic book character. It's a bit more out there. Instead of him, like, punching people, he can actually, like, shoot out shock waves with his gloves. And yeah, I'm a big Shocker fan as a goon. He's one of my favorite
Yeah.
like B-rate goons. I pimp him out all the time in the animated series. I'm so disappointed, and that's what I mean. Like, it's little nerd stuff. I'm really disappointed. Like, I didn't like that he's just this like two thugs. Like, I didn't like that there's two Shockers. That he was just kind of around. Like, he wasn't even like a cool goon. You know, like I feel like action movies like John Wick can do better goons than this, and I felt like they just.
Well, I think that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier in that they didn't make any of the villains cheesy, whereas. I mean, I've only know one iteration of the Shocker, but he's so cheesy.
But they
and
couldn't
the costume
afford to
makes
make
it.
him be like the cheesy guy on the team. If everyone's gonna be dead serious, make the one guy kind of that weird out there guy, and make him be the guy with the electric gloves.
Yeah,
you know?
he was very disappointing. Like his power glove was cool, but like I've seen that in Fallout. You know, that's nothing new to me.
I didn't like that he didn't shoot the shockwaves out though. I really didn't.
Yeah, he didn't even really use electricity. He just had the power glove.
Yeah, so I was disappointed. Yeah. You guys have nothing to say on Shocker?
I don't know enough about the comic book to talk about it.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool because I didn't know that
his
there
costume
was
is
more
so dank. Like I just want
to
see it.
I'll find it one time.
One time.
Yeah, one
You're never
time.
gonna see it.
What do we want?
There was something else I think we're forgetting, I feel like.
Any characters or any other?
I thought there was something, but Oh, you wanted to talk about, what's his name? Michael Glover?
Michael Grubber.
No.
Donald Glover.
Donald
Okay.
Glover.
Yeah, okay.
Michael, I'm like, who?
Michael
Oh yeah.
Glover.
So what was revealed is that he is, and they make reference to it a couple times. So he is playing a guy known as the Prowler. He's kind of
That's a really creepy name.
Yeah, he's a weird
That's
costume
not the
too.
name you want.
So he's kind of like kind of a low level. He's kind of a low level thief. He's not doing stuff that would hurt or put people in jeopardy. He's kind of even helped Spider-Man at times. But the biggest thing is he is the uncle of Miles Morales, who's the guy who becomes Spider-Man after Peter Parker. In the comics, Peter Parker dies, and Miles Morales becomes Spider-Man. He's known as the Black Spider-Man. I don't want to generalize that much, but he is the Black Spider-Man. What happens is the Prowler, he one time steals some stuff from a lab, happens to be a radioactive spider in this. He puts it in his house, and that Spider goes and bites his little nephew, and he did talk about his nephew. He said, "Oh, I don't want too much danger, like my nephew's out there." Yeah. So he's somebody, and it's very cool.
Does this uncle also get shot?
I don't think so. I don't because Miles' Uncle Ben is kind of Peter Parker. Like that's who his Peter gets killed. Yeah. He uses that as his motivation. So he'll be around, and it's very fitting because. Back in the day when they did Amazing Spider-Man, everyone wanted Donald Glover to be Spider-Man. Everyone said it should be Miles Morales. So he's obviously too old now by the time they reboot Spider-Man again. Like people said it, he should be Spider-Man this time. No, he's almost 40. Like he can't be tall. Like that's why Tom Holland's perfect. He's the right age. So it's kind of a fitting thing that he's not going to get to be Miles Morales, but he'll get to play the Uncle Miles Morales. So I think Donald Glover will be around for quite a while. And I honestly thought he was going to be in the end credit scene, and they might introduce like a little kid, like not even a kid that would grow up to be it, just in the distance of like him in the playground and like Miles, let's go. But that was not the case.
Yeah, I'll mention that. I called that the post credit scene was going to be Captain America doing another video.
Did you? Wow, good for you.
I didn't really give much thought, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good excuse.
Shout out to Cap in this movie. Some of the best scenes, like when they're in detention, like, "Sir, you're in detention. What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna ask yourself?" So good, the gym scenes and like
when
he's
your
like,
teacher.
Yeah, and he's like, so good. Like he's the perfect character to use that. And I think they did say they have like the full unedited versions of that on the Blu-ray. I can't wait to get those and just watch them all.
Oh yeah.
Chris Evans is so good at being that overly cheesy, like good old boy. Like that was a phenomenal way to use him. You know, like he almost for me stands out more than any of the side characters, just for his and the end credits was a perfect thing of just like patience. Yeah, don't you hate when you wait for something and you don't get a good result? That's what patience comes in, kids. Like really, really good.
I agree.
I like how the gym teacher took that line at him by saying, like, I'm pretty sure he's a war criminal now.
Yeah, but I gotta show
this.
Yeah, and that's what I like too. The general settings of like we started it after Avengers. I like that they clearly made it feel like it's in the universe, but they didn't hit us over the head with it. Like Cap being a war soldier, like or war criminal. So it's like okay, this happened after Civil War. Like little things here and there to constantly remind you, but not like. It's not like when Spider-Man went to Avengers Tower at the end, there was like all the Avengers there, and it would be like, oh, this is a bit
Yeah,
much.
I like how we got the first person, his perspective of Civil War. Yeah, I thought that was really funny.
That's a good way to start the movie, too, is like a little camera.
Yeah, I love just like the whole intro from them filming it.
Mm-hmm.
Very well done.
Yeah.
All I had.
Next thing I have was score. Anyone?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was really good, man.
I was disappointed.
Really?
I think they should have stuck with the OG Spider-Man theme that they had at the beginning when they did the the orchestra version.
See,
of
but
that.
the theme that they had throughout it, like I'm pretty sure it borrows a lot from the original theme, and it'll it has the same note progression. I feel like, or chord progression or something.
Then
like
I feel like they should just use that theme because there was times where I felt like those notes would hit. I'm like, oh, it's coming in, and then it went a different way. And I got disappointed, and I felt like it was above average than other Marvel movies.
Right.
But I didn't.
I mean,
especially
that could be it too, just because Marvel movies, we've talked about before how that's usually a lackluster component of them.
And especially for me, the OG Spider-Man is one of the greatest scores of all time. So for me, this is like you really got to bring your game. And I was actually disappointed in the score. I was hoping. Right when I heard that opening of the OG Spider-Man, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. Yeah. I thought they'd use that the whole movie, and they didn't. And I was like, eh.
Yeah, it wasn't the best of the 6 movies, but I still thought it was.
Yeah,
I still thought it was good.
Spider-Man score is better.
It's good for a soundtrack of a movie, just generally, right?
Yeah.
Very little comment. I enjoyed the I enjoyed the music when it was there and when I noticed it, but it wasn't anything where it's throughout the film I was just noticing it constantly. So yeah, it was good.
When I go to these movies, I'm very big on the score. I if it's good, I will go buy tracks right after the movie.
Are you going to buy the tracks for this one?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
I can't hum you anything from this other than the Spider-Man theme, which sucks.
I'm with you. As soon as that opening theme came up with the Marvel intro, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. This is really getting me pumped, and I'm hoping it's gonna pick up with this, but it didn't. There's nothing memorable. Compare to that Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. There's so many tunes I can hum right now from the score. And
I was listening. Don't know copyright. I was listening to them today. They're so good.
Yeah. So there's nothing that stands out for the score, and I am actually disappointed with the score from this one. It was good, but it wasn't good.
I think the more you listen to it, you're gonna like it more.
Nah, I think I like it less. I think I was
if you take that bias out of your head and you're saying, I'm gonna listen to this for what it is,
But
movie did a lot of things different. Soundtrack, they switched it up.
Yeah, but that's it. See, I have that bias going to Amazing Spider-Man, and I like the score for Amazing Spider-Man. So that's where it's I can still like a Spider-Man score. This one just basic bitch for me.
Nothing even stood out. I don't remember any scenes with music except for one. There was music, and his phone was ringing. Things were still happening, and I thought it was too much. Other than that, I don't remember any scenes with music. It didn't. I mean, I'm different. I don't look for the score as much as, obviously, you guys do with your soundtracks. And
I don't look for it, I hear it.
Got him.
You get it? Because she's mad. Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, I got really no comment on it. I don't remember it.
They use a lot of actual songs in this movie,
Yeah.
too. They use Cocaine Eyes, which I was very caught off guard, again. But,
Are you saying the other songs aren't actual songs?
Well, no. What do you mean? I say score and then songs. I think that's the way I'll differentiate you. I see. But yeah,
I didn't love the Blitzkrieg bop.
No,
you didn't.
No.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that.
What scene was that?
Love Blitzkrieg bop.
I don't know. It's twice. It was twice.
The end credits scene and
it was the end credits. I didn't notice it any time else.
They did the very first scene. He was Spider-Man when he was finally finally he was out of school.
Yeah, I think he was
oh yeah,
when he stopped that guy on the bike. And
I liked it.
I liked it in the opening there. Then the first time I heard it, I enjoyed it, but not as the end credits scene.
Yeah, fair enough.
Why? You save some money. You only have to pay for the one song. Think about it.
Marvel has too much money.
Mm-hmm. And I love those sines too at the beginning when they are when we had seen them in the trailer, but about the churro and the bike and everything like that. I liked seeing him being little
Yeah, the start of the movie did that. Even with the villain, it seemed much more small scale. It kind of got back to regular quantities by the end. Obviously not destroying cities and stuff, but it's still.
They almost destroyed the city.
They destroyed. I think they destroyed
potentially. They could have
100 feet of a city.
They destroyed a large
Tesseract
building
things
with lights
blew up.
on
That
it.
could have been bad.
Oh yeah.
What if the plane just hit the fairground?
So that would have been a bloodbath.
A lot of dead people.
Yeah.
Wow. What if it hit the homecoming?
Yeah. What if it just through the middle of the city? Who knows?
Wow.
Just a 5-minute
But
shot of it
happy with
destroying
the fires.
everything.
That's what Spider-Man
And then it turns and destroys more.
And the other
There's a
thing,
second
It just
plane.
runs over Gotham.
God. The other thing I want to show is a double thing, but it's the action and the way Spider-Man fought. I liked I liked the fighting for the most part. The scenes with Vulture were good. I liked the aerial combat, but I liked the way Spider-Man moved. When I picked up on it the first time was when he crawled into his house and he closed his window door with his foot. And I found they were doing stuff like that constantly, and they really made him feel like he's moving like Spider-Man. And from the comics, like animated, he looks like he's doing like non-human type of stuff. Like even things like when he got up out of his bed, he would like flip or something. Like I like that because it's constantly reminding you like, hey, he's different. He has powers. And yeah, I think I really like that. And the action was good for the most part. I like the scenes in the bank and when he fought those guys. So I thought they did a good job of utilizing the spider powers.
Did you find when they were fighting Vulture and Spider-Man on top of the plane, like some scenes like it was quickly cutting back and forth between the two, and it kind of hurts your eyes on.
I think that was on purpose to be whipping jarring, like because they were moving so fast. I think I don't
because they were incorporating a lot of quick like fights, like movements, but the scenes were going faster than their movements.
Yeah, with all of, I don't know about that actually. Maybe we're talking about something else, but I found with all of like Vulture's suit and there it was very like intricate and detailed, and with everything going so fast, it was hard to kind of see exactly what he was doing when he was like jumping across the plane to get to Peter and like moving around really quickly on top of the plane. Yeah. It was very hard to see like exactly what he was doing.
Totally agree.
But
yeah.
But like I think it sort of suited the scene with how fast paced and high speed it was, but it was still like visually it can be irritating for some people.
Yeah, I've brought that up so many times, but I think you can get across that a scene is hectic without me not be able to see anything.
Yeah.
I really that's just a trend that really bothers me like so much.
And then the last thing I was going to show, we talked about that end credit scene that you're bringing up, Taylor. So the guy he meets, I don't know. You know, his name is Matt.
The guy he meets.
Well, I don't know. I was going to go a different route. But
like that post-credit scene.
Yeah, the post-credit scene.
I was like, that could be many different things.
Yeah, it was the guy that was also doing the FBI sting. His name is Matt Gargan. He is Scorpion in the comics and the cartoon. So if you didn't
Scorpion King?
No, just Scorpion though. So if you didn't get it by
he evolves into the Rock.
I felt like you might figure it out because they show like his tattoo like a lot. They really emphasize that he's a Scorpion.
I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah, so
and I noticed his one eye with like blood. There's like
I think that was the car. I think that was the car.
I know, but like his one eye, you could see like it was very bloodshot in some parts.
I thought they were gonna use that. One, I was like, they better not just kill him off with the car. But two, I thought they were gonna use that as a way to get him in the suit and him be like all messed up. But and then so I think what I said to Dylan, my thought is they might try to do either Sinister Six down the line, or they've always talked about, which I don't want, always talked about doing a Sinister Six movie, and just the way he comes. You got Vulture, he's still alive. You got Scorpion, and when he said
Shocker,
did he survive Shocker?
He got wet to a
he just got
wet to a pus. So you got Shocker.
Only 2 hours.
No one died in this movie.
Yeah,
the one Shocker did.
Yeah,
he did.
Come on, man.
You don't know that he's dead. He could have just gone to another dimension.
Hanging off
Red Skull.
Yeah, Red Skull. Yeah, exactly.
He could be Thanos.
Yeah, but I think with him saying like, "Oh, I have some other buddies that would like to take Spider-Man out," I think that might be insinuating
Take a picture,
Spider-Man 6. Again, Sinister Six, and we'll see. I'm less than
actually the Insidious 6.
Yeah. For people that don't know, on the cartoon they called them the Insidious 6 because they did not want to use the word sinister on a kids cartoon, so they were in the Insidious. Well, because it's a kids cartoon.
They also don't say blood.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, or kill. They remember.
Yeah.
I feel like Insidious isn't necessarily better than Sinister.
I think it was in the 90s.
Okay.
Kurt Cobain put a lot of fear into people.
It's a different time now.
Yeah, but I think it could lead to Sinister Six.
The Insidious movies haven't come out yet, so people didn't know what that word was.
Yeah, exactly.
True, yeah. But I'm not that excited because of what they did with Shocker. I'm not that hopeful for Scorpion because I'm a big Scorpion fan as well, and I just they didn't impress me with Shocker. I want to see. He's literally, the costume is like all it is just his face, and then the rest is like a huge scorpion. He has a huge tail.
Colorful.
Yeah, it's
that's
bright green, like the brightest green you could think of. And I don't think that's gonna happen after I saw Shocker just with a couple of gloves.
No, it scares me it's giving me flashbacks of Rhino in Amazing Spider-Man, and I despise that costume. And I feel like with the
Rhino.
Like Vulture's costume was fairly mechanical and not so much about like actual wings, but it wasn't too far gone.
No, it had
and Shocker didn't even have a costume; he just had a fist. So
They did give him the yellow sleeves, though.
I really just want an over the top, super cartoony, very bright colored Scorpion.
Well, we live in a world where look at all the Avengers. Like
Spider-Man's super bright. He hurts your eyes.
Captain America's wearing a fucking flag. Like, just make this guy wear a Scorpion outfit. Like, that's all I want.
Why not,
that's what
right?
I'm worried, you know.
Why
So
not?
yeah,
It doesn't have to be realistic.
Yeah, no.
Only nerds care about realism.
Yeah.
We're geeks.
We're a higher level.
Stop talking.
Do you guys have any other thoughts before we get to our overalls?
I have one. I don't know. Maybe you guys were different. My high school had cameras, so like lifting lockers and making web mixture and hitting alien technology in the school.
They're gonna think Peter's a terrorist if they look at all this footage.
Yeah, like I don't know. There's never anyone around when he needs to like lift a locker. It's just.
Also, how did those two thugs get into the school? Just like
They probably
walking
just walked
around?
in, yeah.
With,
They
like,
just
guns?
passed.
Well, yeah.
They signed in at the office.
Well, and even
We're
stuff.
here to kill Peter Parker. Oh, okay. I fucking hate that kid.
Even stuff like when they did have their competition, and we never got to see that scene of the teacher being like, "Why is Peter not coming?" You know,
Yeah.
they just said after, it's just like you're in trouble because you didn't show up, but. On a school trip, and especially this teacher has lost somebody already, apparently.
Yeah, if a kid doesn't show up, like, you spend
Teacher's
that
pretty
day
absent-minded.
looking for the kid.
Yeah, and that's one thing I didn't love, that I felt like even in the other two Spider-Mans, they were consistent of like, oh, he's always hiding it, and there's always someone looking, where it's like, it felt like for a few scenes, people would be like looking or wondering, but when the plot needed no one to ask questions, they didn't, you know? It's like, why is Peter not coming to the competition? We don't even get an answer. Like, we don't even get the excuse. Like, it's just like, oh, he's gonna get expelled. But it's like...
Excuses are fun.
Yeah, like, that's kind of the point of...
You weren't here for this comment too, but when he like runs out of the homecoming and like no one follows him, and like he throws all his clothes in the hallways, is no one gonna wonder why Peter's clothes are there?
Oh, you know, he just wants some ass slapping, so he's just getting ready for it. I don't think the running out of
I
homecoming...
mean, he definitely got his ass slapped.
I don't think the running out of homecoming's a bad thing, because Peter constantly is like ditching parties, right? So they might just
He's
think...
pretty
oh,
flaky.
yeah, they might just think, oh, he like
And
spazzed
in
out.
homecoming, there's no one in the halls. Like
No, not at
literally
all.
everybody's in the gym. I didn't go. I don't actually know. So.
I don't know either.
I can't remember.
I don't think there are people in the halls.
There might be somebody. What do you want, E.T.?
Tyler's like, I was in the halls. No,
Yeah, I was looking
Yeah.
for Tom Holland.
Fun fact, no one in GeekVerse went to homecoming.
Yeah. So that's what it did disappoint me, because I felt the times when you saw him like look down at all the people swimming and they invited him, and the time of the party, like I really felt the sorrow of, oh, this sucks that he can't hang out and like he has to go be Spider-Man, and I felt that was really good. But then sometimes I felt like they would forget that and be like, oh, like he didn't care, he's gonna go be Spider-Man, you know. So I can agree on the cameras and some little plot hole ish.
The other thing I want, and you touched on it briefly, Travis, is the final fight scene with Vulture and Spider-Man. Like, Spidey really doesn't defeat him at all.
No,
And
he stops him.
That really bugged me.
Yeah, but Vulture, like, I get what they're going for, of like the irony of, hey, Vulture defeats himself. It's actually good storytelling, but at the same time, because this is Spider-Man's first movie, I think he should have been the one to physically take out Vulture. Like, make that your second movie when the villain takes himself out. You know, like, this is the time where you're supposed to establish it. And my thinking was, because his web cartridges weren't working, of course. My thinking was, if those arc reactors didn't explode, Vulture would have just got away. And I was like, oh, like, Spider-Man, like, he stopped the plane, but he still didn't, like, take him in. Like, when he leaves that note of, like, oh, I got him, it's like, you didn't really. Like, you kind of did, but, like, you didn't do the finish. It's like if we're playing Mortal Kombat, and I play the whole time, and then, like, right when the last, like, health bars, I, like, give it over to Dylan. I'm like, oh, he's really good. He knows combos. You know, that's what it felt like. Spider-Man's doing
I don't
all
know any
this.
Mortal Kombat combos.
No, he doesn't. Spider-Man's doing all this, but when it comes to the final defeat, Vulture defeats himself, which I get the irony, but I wasn't a fan of that.
I think part of it, though, too, is because there's that scene on the roof where Tony's saying, like, you know, if people die near there, like, that's on you. And so that's why he said specifically, like, I'm trying to save you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's partly trying to play on that he's trying to grow and not let people die, and that he doesn't want that on his conscience and stuff like that.
I didn't know. I didn't want him to kill Vulture. I just want him to be the one to stop him. Because what happens when Vulture lifts up the arc reactor, those mess up his wings. I would have liked if Spider-Man found something, threw it at the wings, and that took Vulture out. I didn't want him to, like, I didn't want Man of Steel him, you know? Like, I just wanted him to take the wings out himself, not Tony's gear, like, oh, no.
Yeah, like, that can work sometimes. And, you know, maybe with a character that you build up more, like maybe over the course of multiple movies or something. But yeah, for the first Spider-Man movie, like, he's got to defeat the bad guy.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Like, there's that moment in Spider-Man 1 where he goes to town, he has to beat the Green Goblin, right? And, like, unfortunately kills him. It's very
Spoilers.
sad. Yeah, spoilers for the 2002 classic.
It's a good movie.
Tanner, E.T.?
Yes, you never answered my question about Michael Keaton at the end, like why he didn't divulge.
Oh, yeah.
Identity.
I think it's a twofer of that could be played on more in the future because I think there's a chance he comes back. The only thing I don't think he could is just because Michael Keaton's a big actor and I don't know if he's going to want to come back to do... Like, after he was done Batman, he stopped acting for a while. Like, he doesn't really like the spotlight, so... Which, yeah, he's in a Spider-Man movie, but, like, I think he could come back, and I think they'll play on that in the future, and that's how Liz Allen could come back. Because, oh, my dad's getting out of prison, or my dad's missing, or in Sinister Six, it can be like, hey, like, that can be the reason he's the leader, right? Like, I know who Spider-Man is, like, you're gonna follow me, and they could eventually turn on him. I think it's just to set up potential stuff. Do they do anything with it? I don't fucking know. I wish I knew. I wish I was in these meetings. But I think it's to lay breadcrumbs. Yeah, those bread clumps. Yeah, he's gonna lay huge clumps of bread. I know Parker is. Yeah. So, and he'll maybe become like an anti-hero, maybe even.
Okay. So. Then also, what do you think about the suit we got to see at the end?
Loved it. I was waiting for. There's a suit very similar to that. It's yellow, orange, and red, and I was waiting. You know. Do you know what it is?
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's called Iron Spider, and it has 4 arms in the back. Yeah, I thought that's what it was going to be, and I was waiting for the arms to pop out. Obviously, they're going to save it. I think that's a good idea, but that suit looked... I like that suit almost better than the suit we have now. The reason is I don't like the suit is because it's supposed to be cloth, but when it's CGI all the time, it never looks cloth. Where that suit was clearly like, oh, this is a metal Spider-Man suit. I almost wish they did that, because it's like, I would buy the CGI more. I still buy it because it's a mechanical cloth suit. I get it, but like he takes his mask off, it's like a blanket, but it's always looking pretty plastic to me, you know. So, yeah. Anything else, or are we going to get to our overall thoughts and score if anybody drops it? Mr. Briggs, what were your final thoughts on this film and your rating?
I think it's a good film. It's not the best. I would say like it is probably one of the weaker superhero films.
Oh wow!
The year.
Oh, the year. Okay.
Yeah. Not all the time.
Oh, yeah, I was like, wow.
I would maybe. I wouldn't say it's the weakest of Marvel's superhero films, but
like the MCU ones.
Yeah, I would say it's one of the weaker ones. It was definitely a fun ride and like a lot of good feelings throughout the film, but there wasn't a whole lot like emotional. There wasn't very many like emotional scenes or just attachments to any of the characters, and just like it really just went for that cheesy fun, and I didn't feel like there was much else in that. I think Michael Keaton did a phenomenal job, and just like the villain was very well done, and I loved how they kind of had the difference between like the high school life being super cheesy and them being kids and stuff, and having fun, and then there was the villain who was very down to earth, very serious, and kind of showed the contrast that sort of Peter Parker isn't grown up and ready to be an Avenger. I guess, and building on that, I think it's okay that he didn't defeat Vulture because he's still not ready for the role as an Avenger, which he turns it down. He still has some growing to do, and it's good that he kind of got some spotlight and he got back in Tony Stark's favor. But he still has a lot of growing to do and a lot of work to do, and he's more about saving people rather than defeating people. And I thought that was really good for the character. But anyways, I thought it was a good film, but not what I look for in a film, I guess. So when I watch a film, I enjoy having more of an emotional attachment and being more depth to it, I guess. So I guess that's a way to put it. It's a bit of a shallow, fun film. So I would give it flimsy 7.
A flimsy 7.
Flimsy 7, wow.
Tanner Field? Oh, God. It's scary when it comes to you and ratings.
I enjoyed the movie. As far as like so far the different Marvel superhero movies I've seen, this was again like just another take on just a superhero, and it was cool to see Marvel at the helm of like Spider-Man and just kind of their iteration of how they're gonna interpret him onto the big screen, and I thought it was really cool. I definitely, the humor was okay, but for me I wish that the humor wasn't so pushed and forced. I just don't like that in movies. I like Tobey Maguire's innocent, awkward humor, and yeah, it's just that does it for me. And this it had its humor, but as I said, it was just forced. And The characters, I thought they were great. As you guys had all said, like I think that he was a really good balance between being Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I think he really pulled that off successfully. The score for me didn't work, but at the end of the day, I mean...
I thought you meant the score you were going to give it. What do you mean it doesn't work?
It just doesn't have
You can make it work. You can pick it. You're describing everything you like to dislike.
I put in my head and it didn't compute. Nope.
I can't give this a 10.
I
I want to so bad.
I think,
I loved Ned.
It's a movie I'm definitely gonna buy on DVD or Blu-ray. Actually, I'll get it on Blu-ray.
Oh, Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's definitely worth.
Steelbook?
Blu-ray.
Does your Xbox One have a Blu-ray player?
It does.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're built in.
That's true.
I hope they didn't, so it was a silent shot, but apparently they do. So
They do. It was very much enjoyable movie. It's definitely, I'm with you. It's not like at the peak of like superhero movies for the year, but I'll probably give it like a 7.5.
oh wow.
Okay. Yeah, it was pretty good. I didn't laugh out loud at any parts. So, I mean, it had its moments, but it was nothing, it wasn't like a Lego Batman where I loved it. It was amazing. And it wasn't a Logan where it was super emotional and storyline. And it was, it was kind of in the middle, but, for me, it didn't hit home on either front. So, it was a fun ride, though. I did enjoy watching it. There was definitely some good moments. I don't really know what kind of score I'd give it. Kind of what you were talking about, the range is so much. I definitely think it's worth a watch, but it's definitely not 10 out of 10. I haven't seen Wonder Woman, so I can't compare it to Wonder Woman. But, yeah, I'll back you on your 7. I can appreciate that.
It's a flimsy.
It's a
It
flimsy.
is a flimsy 7.
I'll back your flimsy 7. It's not like God tier, but it's like it's a good tier.
God.
For myself, as we've talked about this for the last 2 hours, I realize that there is some problems with this movie plot wise, and
I
there's
feel
things.
so bad. Dylan's like, I loved it.
No, I still do, and
Yeah.
there's characters I don't like, and some of the storyline stuff wasn't great, but I still love seeing Spider-Man on the big screen. I just love Spider-Man, and I love the cheesiness. I think that was something kind of lacking in Amazing Spider-Man's, was just not enough cheese, and it's hard to hit the right amount of cheese. It really is, but I think this movie was just super cheesy, and that's what I loved about it. As for superhero movies, we've seen better ones. We've probably seen better ones this year even, but I'm really excited to watch this movie again, and I feel like I need to see it again, already.
And with the first 20 minutes not ruined for us as well, with the baby in the background.
Yeah, get that baby out of there. So, I really did love this movie. I think,
Get that baby out of here. Get that baby out of here.
that sounds like
Travis,
a Spider-Man
I feel
line.
Soon you're going to have some trouble watching films at home.
No, someone can stay home.
He's gonna get the baby out of there. Emily, take
Yeah,
the baby for a walk.
exactly.
Yeah. Good thing is, we have both big families. Lots of people will volunteer. They're like, "Oh, I'll watch the kids." So it's like perfect because I got a lot of fucking movies I gotta run. Because Justice League is in November, and
It's true.
I ain't bringing no fucking kid to Justice League. I'll tell you that
Oh,
much.
God.
Yeah, as my closing thoughts, I think everyone's at least likes Spider-Man. So I think everyone you got to go see this movie. I think everyone really has to see this movie, regardless of comic book fan or not. Just go see this movie. You'll probably like it. You'll at least like it, I think. Whether or not you think it's the best movie of all time, who knows? Probably won't.
It's
If it is,
still
good for
fun
you.
ride, yeah.
Yeah, it's still fun. It's a good time.
Yeah. To double on what you're saying, Dylan, we've seen a lot worse. Amazing Spider-Man 2 happened. It looked like at a point where Spider-Man was getting into a lower tier of maybe he's just gonna be on Netflix. Maybe it's I never thought that, but it's just
Superhero.
what? Yeah, he had dropped. It was always Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Spider-Man had kind of dropped, and Iron Man was going up, and Cap was going up, and Spider-Man had kind of fallen from good graces. I think this film does put him back in good graces. To me, if the next 5 to 6 Spider-Mans are like this, I'll be fine, because I had little problems. I didn't love the score. There was some stuff with the ending. Didn't love the love interest and some maybe choices they did. But most of the stuff I didn't like are mostly minor. I think the score for me is the biggest one because that's all in the movie. But most stuff is just little stuff I'd change. If the rest of Spider-Man's from the end of time were this, I would take it because we can get a lot worse. Go watch Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's tough to get through. It's not
Or down.
What? Yeah. No, I think.
Go watch the original Spider-Man.
Yeah. And the thing is, talking about the original Spider-Man, in my opinion, it's the third best Spider-Man movie. Not too shabby. The first two with Tobey, they are in a class of their own. Some people talk about being some of the best comic movies, so not too bad to be better than the rest. Tom Holland is great. He's going to be a star the rest of his life. Michael Keaton was a great villain, which is good because Marvel is tough job with villains, so I think they need that. I think the thing I liked about the most was the high school stuff, and that's what I was looking forward to the most, and that's the thing that did go above my expectations. I did laugh a lot. There's a lot of Easter eggs I got, but the comedy I liked for the most part, and yeah, I liked the kids, I liked the interaction, I liked the John Hughes feel. The action villain stuff was kind of par for the course, but then they even made that a bit different with the twist of Vulture and being Liz Allen's dad, and I really like that. That's one of my favorite scenes, maybe in all of Marvel. So there's a lot more I like. I'm giving it I think a solid 8 out of 10. So, which, like I said, the 8 out of 10 for me is like the weakest comic film this year. That shows how good a year it is. Wonder Woman was great. Logan was amazing. Lego Batman, Guardians 2. To me, like I said, if this is the worst for me, if this is like the least good comic movie we got all year, it's fine. So yeah, I really enjoyed Spider-Man overall. 8 out of 10, a solid B, I guess. So, and I think looking at this, it's not. I feel like the next one could be even better. You know, I don't think it's like I felt the same way about Wonder Woman, where it's great, but I don't know how you're gonna get. Or Wonder Woman was like, I know they can get better. Same thing with this.
Right.
I really like it, but I know there's more they can get. We'll see how MJ goes. We'll see with Aunt May. So I think the future is bright for the Spider-Man franchise.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever rated anything lower than your rating before.
Oh, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
probably not. Yeah, well,
Breaking records today.
something's happening in the world. What is happening on the web, though, Taylor Field?
On the web.
Hashtag transitions.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good catch there. On the web.
Now you're ruining it. Come
Yeah,
on.
and it's done now.
You ever watch Spider-Man retrospective?
No, none of these fools have.
You guys suck.
Well, on the web, you guys can go onto Google and in the search bar, type in GeekVerse Space Podcast. Because when you go on and you find Facebook there, that link there, you go into Facebook, you'll find awesome stuff, tons of stuff, including all your Spider-Man retrospectives and all that sort of stuff.
The way you just point it away like it's garbage.
Go Spider-Man retrospectives. Go web. Go.
Yeah, we got it. Keep
Fuck
going.
it.
Yeah. If you listen to this review, and yeah, you're a big fan of Spider-Man, check out the Spider-Man retrospective. We reviewed all the films. We're reviewing every single episode of the 1994 classic series, and it's a very fun podcast. We get really in-depth with this cartoon animated series, so it's good. We got a lot of good stuff coming in July. In Gauntlet, we have a huge match coming up. We got a ladder match coming up. Go like our Facebook, because I'm going to be dropping details maybe this weekend about that. But it's huge. It's, I think, about an hour-long match. It's multiple things. It's something you're going to want to tune into, because it's lots of fun. We got Comic-Con coming up. We got D23. We got, I'm sure there's a Geek Screen dropping next month or something
There's
like
some
that.
good news to talk about.
Alright, you got some fucking weird anime Assassin's
Good
Creed
anime.
show.
Yeah.
Oh boy, just ruining anime for all the fans out there.
Oh,
Oh, you want
anime.
Assassin's Creed anime?
Assassin's Creed running out of ideas already.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, so we're going to be here. We got Apes next week as well.
Mm.
Totally forgot about that. Dunkirk's coming up. We got a lot of big movies, a lot of big
It's
casts.
gonna be a good month.
Promise you it's not going to be boring. You can catch us on the web.
We'll catch you on the web.